across the UK, online and on DAB.
The wild man of late night radio, Iain Lee.
Differently interesting nocturnal emissions from a legend of late night radio. On air and off the leash.
The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio. We'll get you talking.
Good evening, dear listener. The Late Night Alternative. Thank you, George Galloway. It's I like following George more than James because George has the studio very, very cold. James has it quite warm. George has it icy cold, and I like that. Slightly different start to the show this evening. You're welcome to call in for the first half an hour or so, but only really if you've got anything to say to my let's be honest, my only guest this evening. Let's use the shorthand that you will know him by. It's CJ, formerly of the TV quiz show Eggheads.
Absolutely.
Nice to see you, CJ.
Nice to be here, but it is a little cold in here.
Well, I've put the heating up 3 degrees because I didn't think you'd like it as cold as I do. We worked it out. It was 2004. It was on the Radio 4 show Loose Ends.
Yep.
I was kind of the guest interviewer, and you were on... Well, just plugging Eggheads.
Yeah, I think it was just before the second series. It was actually wonderful to come in because I'd listened to Loose Ends for years, and there was Ned Sherrin in the flesh. So it was great to come on. But I was actually terrified because, I don't know if you remember, but Joe Brand was one of the other guests at the time.
Well, who else was on that? Because I don't remember. Joe Brand.
Niz Loppy. The wonder band.
They were great, Niz Loppy. My dad's got Bruce Lee or something. Yes, the JCB song.
JCB, yeah. And Joe Brand was there. I was chatting to her, and I was saying, I'm really nervous about this because I've never met Ned Sherrin. I don't know what he's going to be like, but he was lovely.
Here's the lovely thing about Ned Sherrin, right? And I wish I'd spoken to him more. I wish I knew more about his history than I did. I've since found out. I must have done that half a dozen times with Ned. And this is how old-fashioned he was, and what a gentleman. Every time I did it, the next week I'd get a postcard from him thanking me for going on the show. Mm-hmm. What a gentleman.
Yeah, and when that arrived, that was absolutely wonderful. Little signed postcard from him. Something you wouldn't expect.
Did you get one as well?
I got one.
Did you?
Yeah, all the guests got one. It was fantastic.
Class. And everyone used to, and this was on BBC money, everyone would go down to the pub afterwards. Mm-hmm. And what a classy guy.
Absolutely wonderful.
You will not be getting a postcard from me. You might get a tweet.
Oh, thanks. Well, I got a cup of coffee, so I'm happy.
Got a cup of coffee. It's nice to see you again, man. And the reason you're here is because one of my listeners kind of atted me and said, I don't know if you've seen that CJ is having a bit of bad luck, to put it bluntly. And I just wondered if you could do anything. And quite often when people suggest guests, I don't really look because Catherine and I have got a really clear idea of who we want. But I thought, oh, okay, I remember CJ. I remember him being a really nice guy when we met. I'll have a little look. And it didn't take long, didn't take much Googling.
No.
To see the past 3 or 4 years have been lousy for you. Before we get to that, let's just go back a little bit. Mm-hmm. Because you tell me about you as a young man. What was it like? Because you changed your name to CJ. Yeah. You kind of almost created this character, sort of. So tell me about that.
Well, I grew up in South Yorkshire. Not the most enjoyable of childhoods. I mean, I probably wasn't a very easy child. I was quite difficult, didn't fit in. Yeah. But the people who I was living with, the man and woman to whom I was related, never got on with them. Should we say my liberal views were somewhat at variance to what they thought.
Really?
So at the age of 17, I left and started sleeping on the streets, and I was homeless and sleeping rough for 3 years in London, Amsterdam, and eventually in Cologne in Germany.
When you say your liberal views, was it your sexuality that they...
Certainly sexuality. Let's just say there weren't many modern ways of looking at people with different coloured skin, different sexualities, lots of things which didn't sit very well with me, and it wasn't an environment I was happy in. So for me, even though it was a horrible and tough decision to make, I was actually happier sleeping on the streets than it was. That. It was the preferred option. Yeah.
Okay, so 3 years homeless.
Yep.
How did you turn that around?
By a complete stroke of pure luck. I was begging outside a bar in Germany on a Friday night. This guy came up to me and said, "Have you ever thought about modelling?" And I thought, what?
Wow.
What sort of fool are you?
Yes.
But I thought, well, maybe he's it's a roundabout way of offering me a bed for the night. So I thought, no, I haven't. But he said, well, here's 100 marks, as it was then. I've got an office in Dusseldorf.
Yeah.
If you're interested, come and see me on Monday morning. So
Incredible.
I spent a little bit of the money on a bed for that night.
And I was laughing, not because you're not a good-looking guy, just because it's such a strange thing to say to a homeless
completely
person.
serendipitous,
Yeah, yes.
out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Just came up to me, and it turns out it was completely genuine. I went along to his office in Dusseldorf on the Monday morning and stayed with him for 4.5 years.
Isn't that incredible? And got work, obviously.
Yeah, I was working pretty much non-stop, travelling to some nice places.
Now, there are different types of modelling. What kind of modelling?
It was runway work, so just walking up and down wearing nice clothes.
Wow. Yeah. Isn't it funny what you can make money doing these days?
Completely out of the money. It's almost as ridiculous as being a professional quizzer, really.
Okay. The reason I'm kind of just rushing through the early bit is because that's not really what we're here for, but I just think it's good to get a bit of context. So, okay, so then the journey from modelling to... have you always been... You were one of the better eggheads. You know stuff.
Yeah.
Have you always been quite, I don't know, bookish or full of
I am not just a
stuff?
geek, I am king of the geeks.
Yes.
It was one of the reasons I never really fitted in at school. I was the kid who at 12 had a briefcase.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I read encyclopedias for fun.
Yeah.
And I wasn't popular. And no, but I've always had this love of reading, of learning.
Yeah.
I've always said I love learning, I don't like being taught.
Yeah.
So formal education me did not get on. I had a really rough time at school.
Yeah. Well, of course. Listen, I was not the nicest kid at school, and kids sniff out difference.
Yep.
They see difference as weakness. They see intelligence to a certain degree as weakness,
as a threat.
Yeah, completely. And anybody that dares to stick out for whatever reason, is a target.
Yeah.
You know.
I put my little head above the parapet.
Yeah, of course.
I did the ultimate geeky thing, and I won the school chess championship. I mean, how much of a target did I want to paint on my back?
Oh, mate, I started a chess club. Yeah, it doesn't help, does it?
No, and so I mean, I got through that, but learning and taking in facts was something I always enjoyed.
Yeah,
and because I got onto Eggheads. Because I was noticed doing other shows. I think the main one...
As a contestant?
Yeah. I was a contestant on a few shows, but the main one was the weakest link. And I got on there, and the other contestants clearly saw me as a threat, because despite being the strongest link throughout the game, I was the third person voted off.
Unlucky. I won it when I was on it, but carry on.
But as a true professional, I prepared what I was going to say in my post-game interview, and I went into a rant.
Did you really? Good for you. Well done.
I said... It's pretty obvious they're all idiots. They're all off my Christmas list. I hope they never win another penny. And I hope them, their loved ones and all their pets die horribly in freak yachting accidents.
Oh, blimey.
It was fantastic, and that got me noticed.
Right.
So they invited me back for a Bad Losers special for the Weakest Link, which I won.
Bad Losers special.
And all of a sudden... all the quiz shows wanted me on as a contestant.
Isn't
and
that funny? There'll be people that will be surprised by that, because people will think that you have to write into a specific show. But, of course... I don't know if it quite works like that now, but back then, the producers want good, entertaining contestants. Absolutely. And if they see you on something doing, being entertaining, they'll grab you.
Yeah, I mean, look at all the people who've gone from Big Brother, Alison Hammond, Rylan Clark. Yeah. Well, they've all gone on to have great careers. Purely because they've been picked out because their personality is something different. Yeah. And I think that's what I got. I mean, if I had been chosen, or if I'd been in the running to be chosen for Eggheads purely on knowledge, I wouldn't have had a chance. My only advantage was that I was younger than all the others. Yes. And I had a fairly gregarious personality.
Well, you are a good-looking man. 15 years ago, you were even more good-looking. You very striking eyes. And the reason I liked you on Eggheads, I don't watch it all the time, but if it's on, it's one of those programs, Eggheads is on, I'll watch it. Yeah. You had an arrogance about you.
Oh, absolutely.
You had this real arrogance and this real sniffiness of, well, of course I know the answer. Yeah. This is a ridiculous question. Why are you even wasting my time?
There's a wonderful quote that's attributed to the third world chess champion, Jose Capablanca, and it's, there's no such thing as modesty when everyone knows how good you are.
I like it. So did you have to audition for Eggheads?
Nope.
They just said, we've got this quiz, we want a team of brain boxes and we want you as part of that?
That's exactly what happened.
Wow.
We're starting this new show. Would you like to come in and do a read-through, an audition, not an audition, but an audition for the show itself, to make sure the show gets commissioned. So I went in January and did a read-through in central London, and then didn't hear anything.
Yeah.
And in March, I went
what year?
abroad.
March, what year?
2003.
2003. Okay.
And then I went abroad for a couple of months. Still didn't hear anything. Got back, and late July, and I still hadn't heard anything. So I thought, oh well, that's another thing that's just fallen by the wayside. And the beginning of August, I got a phone call saying, CJ, remember that read-through you came in for? Oh, yeah. Well, it's got commissioned. Oh, wonderful. So you'd like me to come in and do a rehearsal? No, we've done that. Would you like me to come in and do the pilot? No, that's happened as well. Well, why are you calling me? We start filming in 3 weeks, get learning.
That's TV. You wait for months and months, nothing, and then it's, are you free next Tuesday?
Absolutely.
We're doing it.
Yeah.
And Eggheads, there was a real late 90s, early 2000s, of quiz shows became sexy again, didn't they? With the Weakest Link. I guess Millionaire probably kind of kick-started it, Weakest Link. There are all of these formats, and Weakest Link, I can't remember exactly, was it a tea time show when it first started? I think it was. It was that slot of 4:30, 5 o'clock.
Absolutely,
we need something that is stimulating, it stimulates your brain, but isn't too taxing. Those shows became big, and Eggheads at the start was a big old show. It took off, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
made you all famous.
Oh, yeah. I mean, here we all are. In terms of episodes, it's the third longest-running British quiz show of all time,
right,
in terms of number of episodes.
Yeah.
It's been going now, 16 years?
Wow.
That's incredible. I mean, nearly 2,000 episodes. You can't possibly imagine when you start doing something like that, it's going to have that kind of that kind of pull, that kind of attraction.
Yeah.
And the thing is, because it taps into that nerdy jealousy, that fascination with people, and I think one of the reasons it has survived is because it's so cheap to make.
Yeah, of course.
People love watching it, but it's cheap to produce.
Do you mind talking about it? Because we are going to get to the bit, we'll have a break in a second, but we are going to get to the bit where, they screw you over. And is it uncomfortable talking about Eggheads?
It's an uncomfortable subject, but it gave me so much. It gave me so many opportunities that I would never have otherwise had. I can be uncomfortable and bitter about the way it ended and the way I was treated, but as for the show itself, I've got nothing but respect and nothing but love, because it was a wonderful time of my life, and it's something I could never have possibly imagined.
Good for you. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll find out what's been going on in the last few years. This is the Late Night Alternative on Talk Radio.
Unmissable late night radio with the original king of unconventional conversation.
Make contact with Iain Lee.
The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
Evening, dear listener. You can give us a call if you want. 0344 499 1000. We've got CJ with us. The reason I'm not saying your last name, CJ, is because I can never remember how to pronounce it. Go on.
Pronounce it how you like. De Mooi is the correct pronunciation, but De Mooi is perfectly fine.
Okay,
I don't mind.
Now, listen, we've talked about Eggheads. We've talked about the golden years. It kind of started to go wrong.
Yeah.
Would you say around the time of the autobiography? The chronology gets a little bit confusing for me. So you tell your story.
The autobiography came out in September 2015.
Yeah.
No problems whatsoever. Book had been out for several months. Things started to go wrong in January 2016.
Okay.
Somebody I thought was a friend made a horrible accusation against me and accused me of sexual assault.
Right.
Eggheads, to their credit, stood firmly behind me. The producer suspended me on the day I was questioned.
Okay.
And 3 months later, when I was completely cleared of all suspicion, on that very same day, they fired me.
Right, okay. So sorry, what year was it? What year was it you were accused of sexual assault?
January 2016.
Okay. And then 3 months later, you were completely cleared.
Yep.
And that is still the case? You have never been...
I've never been charged. I was never even arrested.
I was going to say, when you were cleared, so you didn't go into court. It wasn't in court.
No, I was only questioned by police, but there was an eyewitness account from somebody who was in the room at the time.
Right.
There was video evidence from the hotel, and there was the results of DNA testing, all of which proved my innocence.
Okay. So you're innocent of that, of the sexual assault you were accused of?
Yes.
Can you understand? I've worked with the BBC. Listen, I got the boot from the BBC because I had a go against some right-wing Christians who were homophobic bigots.
Yep.
Nicky Campbell does the same thing. He gets applauded. I got the boot. And I dragged Catherine with me. That's by the way. So I have seen, and I'm a big fan of the BBC.
Yep.
I was so proud to work for it. But I have seen, on a slightly smaller scale, how flawed it is and what a dinosaur it can be, and how people within it can get scared, and rather than deal with an issue, they'll just drop, wipe their hands of it. Can you understand why you were suspended?
They think their audience is far more conservative than it is.
Yeah.
They're so terrified of any hint of scandal, and this is all on the back of U-Tree, of course, which was still very fresh in people's minds at the time. But I think the fact that, yes, OK, they suspended me while the investigation was going on, I understand why they did it. I felt a little hurt they did.
Of course, because you knew you were innocent.
I knew I was completely innocent. But, OK, fine. But it was right in the middle of a filming block. Okay. It was a 2-week filming block in the middle of it, and they sent me home and didn't allow me to do the second week of filming.
What happened? Did you just kind of get collared in your dressing room and they said, we don't need you today? What happened?
Yes. The accusation was on a Sunday.
Yeah.
I was taken to the police station on the Sunday night, held there and questioned in the early hours of Monday morning, went into the BBC on the Monday morning. The producer came in and said, not today, you'll have to go home, you're suspended.
Let's go back ever so slightly. How did the police get... Did you get a knock at the door?
I went back to my hotel on the Sunday evening, and my room hadn't been made up, and I didn't know why, so I went down to reception to ask them. And they said, oh, yes, we'll go and make it up in a minute. Obviously, the police had told them not to make up the room in case there was evidence there, and they just came in and detained me in the lobby of the hotel.
Yeah. What was that like? That must have... what was that like?
It was very confusing because I was just sitting there waiting. My friend was up in the room. I was just sitting there waiting for them to attend to the room. The 2 police officers came in and said, would you like to come over here? I said, what's it about? No, just come over here. They took me over to one side and they said, this man has accused you of sexual assault. And I was stunned and devastated, as you would be. And I was in a state of shock. And they took me up to the room because I had to go and get a couple of things. 2 police officers were already up there questioning my friend, and then they took me to the station and locked me up in a cell and kept me there for several hours, and then questioned me about 2 a.m.
I cannot begin to imagine what that must be like. The words that spring to mind are humiliating, frustrating, upsetting.
I was, I think, too shocked to be anything else, really. Okay. But the experience of being locked in a police cell for several hours wasn't enjoyable. And I was just so astounded. They let me go at 3 a.m. because I said, look, I've got nothing to hide. You asked me what you want.
Yeah.
I had to walk back to the hotel, which was a bit disorientating because I had no idea where I was. Got back to the hotel about 4:30, had 3 hours sleep.
Went to work the next day?
Went into the BBC a few hours later, and the producer just came to my dressing room and said, sorry, look, we're having to send you home, you're suspended, you can't do the next week's filming.
Here's where we might slightly disagree. I can sort of understand a suspension until...
Yes, I agree why...
I know it means, Paul Gambaccini, of course, is perhaps one of the most famous ones. I mean, he didn't work, I think, for 18 months or 2 years. Right, a really good, interesting book about it. Didn't work for 18 months or 2 years because the whole legal system can drag on and on and on and on. Mm-hmm. And while it's unfair that anyone should lose money for a false accusation, I can kind of understand why it would be done.
Yeah.
But 3 months later, so relatively, I'm sure it seemed like a lifetime for you, but in comparison to a lot of other false accusations, Cliff Richard and Gambaccini and a few others, 3 months is actually quite a short...
That's only because my solicitor pressured them. It was going to take quite a bit longer. My solicitor pressured them and said, right, come on, let's get this sorted out.
Oh, good for him.
And
or her.
They did, but what's your evidence? Oh, there isn't any. In fact, everything points to your innocence. You got an eyewitness report, video evidence, and we took his boxer shorts for DNA testing. No evidence whatsoever. You're innocent, completely cleared. That's it.
And so you were never charged?
Nope.
Had you gone in for questioning again in that 3 months? It was just that one night?
One time.
Wow. So never charged, questioned once... 3 months of insecurity and being unaware of what's going on, and then the police said, as far as we can see, you're innocent. There's no evidence to back this up.
Absolutely.
You're free to get on with your life. Sir.
Yes. On that very day, my manager received an email from Eggheads. You're fired.
See, that's insane, because at that moment when there's nothing, there's nothing, it's a phantom. Surely they take you out for lunch, one would imagine, take you out for lunch, say, look, really sorry, hope you understand why we did it, hope there's no hard feelings, we'd love to invite you back if you want to come and work with us. But no, you got a message saying, we're done.
They didn't even contact me personally. It was
of course not.
An email sent to my manager.
They wouldn't do that, they're cowards.
Yeah. I can understand the suspension. I was furious about the firing. And then they gave the statement saying, we were just refreshing the lineup. But all they did was fire me, and the timing was apparently purely coincidental. It was just a pure coincidence. It was on the very day I was cleared.
Catherine, we know this BBC bollocks, don't we? We know, we've heard these lines before. I'm laughing just because it's so familiar through what we went through. I'm not laughing at your situation at all. That must have been infuriating.
Incandescent with rage.
Yeah,
I think it was the phrase I used.
I bet.
I wasn't happy.
And have the producers ever spoken to you?
No. The only contact I've had with anybody from Eggheads since then was about 2 weeks later. One of the panellists contacted me to say, with regret, we have been told not to contact you ever again.
Oh, mate.
So I've had no contact with anybody, even people on the panel who I thought were my friends. Not one of them has contacted me in the 3 years since.
That sucks. I'm really sorry. That's
more polite language than I used.
Yeah, no, and I know that I can feel the rage as you're telling this. I appreciate you kind of holding your tongue a little bit. That's awful. And of course, with things like this, when it's rolling contracts, when it's contracts, what people don't understand with jobs like this,
it was a 0 hours contract.
Right,
I was guaranteed no work.
Of course, and with contracts like this, if they wanted to sack me, they just don't renew the contract. That's the way, they don't renew the contract. So you can't really say, "Oh, I've been sacked," because technically you haven't. But it's so they played that game. All right. But so the sexual assault happened but didn't happen, there was nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. But then you'd murdered someone.
This is fun, this bit, isn't it?
You'd murdered someone. Now this, I'd missed the sexual assault story, okay?
Yeah.
And I was really surprised when I read this last week. But I remember, and I'm ashamed of this, but this is how news works. I remember you murdering somebody.
Yeah.
Because that was a big story.
And admitting to it.
And admitting to it in a book.
Mm.
But of course, that's not what happened, and I'm really ashamed that I didn't dig deeper the first time around, because I had that in my head.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us what happened there?
In about September 2017, I came back from Cape Town and I was arrested at Heathrow Airport. I was taken to a police station, jailed overnight, and then taken to Westminster Magistrates Court the next day. What had happened was a European arrest warrant had been issued for me because in my book I had written in my autobiography that I thought I killed somebody in Amsterdam. This was a mugger who attacked me with a knife, and I wrote in my book that I thought I murdered him.
Yeah.
A European arrest warrant was issued on that basis, and I was jailed and taken to court about this. There's only one slight problem with the whole thing, and that's it's all complete bollocks. Nowhere in my book does it say anything like that. I never wrote those words. They don't appear anywhere in the book. Somebody made it up. Somebody changed my Wikipedia page, and a Dutch journalist apparently read this, passed it on to the Dutch prosecutor, who issued the arrest warrant. The police arrested me and I was taken to court. But the prosecutor, the journalist, the press, the judge and the police, not one of them bothered to spend 2 minutes looking into the books to see it wasn't true.
I have the quote that was doing all the rounds in the newspapers, and this is what, of course, I read.
Please.
Right. So this is the bit lifted from your book, and then we're going to go to the actual page. Mm-hmm. So this is from your book, apparently. I was in a phone box, and this old guy, obviously a massive drug user, came up behind me with a knife in his hand. He told me to turn around, open my bag, and give him whatever was inside. I punched him so hard in the face, knocked the knife out of his hand, and threw him in the canal. I fully suspect I killed him. I've no idea what happened to him. I remember reading that.
Yes. So do lots of people.
Yeah.
I don't remember writing it.
And it wasn't until we were chatting on Twitter and someone said, yeah, all right, CJ, you murdered someone. And you went, well, actually, here's the page in my book that I read what happened. And you tell a story about being getting mugged by a drug user.
Yep.
So you get to, this is from the action book. I completely snapped, dropped the phone and flew at him in fury. He didn't expect this reaction and was immediately thrown into terror. I grabbed the knife, tossed it into the water and started to thump him. I screamed the entire time, allowing all my frustration and hurt to flood out. I couldn't help myself, but doubt that I even wanted to. He'd tried, however meekly, to mug me at knife point, and I was just defending myself. Of course this is ludicrous, as the gentlest of slaps would have got rid of him. Once unarmed, he'd hardly be a threat to anyone else, but my assault continued until I half punched, half pushed him into the canal. Trembling with rage and with fists still tightly clenched, I'm ashamed to say I walked away. I didn't give this sorry creature another thought.
That's what it says in the book. Not a word about punching him in the face, not a word about thinking I killed him. I did not write those words. They do not exist.
Completely different.
Yeah.
Completely different.
Yeah.
And that quote that was in all the papers and is still online.
And the BBC published.
That was because someone updated your Wikipedia page.
Yeah. That quotation appears on the European arrest warrant.
Wow.
Yeah.
So a Dutch prosecutor, they saw it and went, we got to get this guy because there's an unsolved murder or something?
What happened was there was a Dutch writer who maybe purely coincidentally had a book out about previous murders in Amsterdam. He claims that a journalist pointed him towards the Wikipedia page, so he told the prosecutor issued the warrant.
Okay.
So maybe it was in his interest, maybe he sold a few copies of his book.
So when you're in court...
Mm-hmm.
And did they read out that section? Or did
No.
They didn't
Nope.
say that to you?
No.
Okay. So how did this proceed then?
Basically, I was told to stay quiet, and the judge then asked me to stand up after a few minutes and said, well, in view of the fact there's no actual evidence and you have admitted to this in your book, I said, excuse me, may I just stop you there? And I said, I didn't write it. These aren't my words. It doesn't appear anywhere in the book. And the whole court was thrown into the confusion. They stopped the...
They listened to you?
They listened to me, but the whole thing was over in a few minutes. They retained my passport and I was just free to go.
Right.
But
no one said, look, can we come back after lunch? Can someone pop down to Waterstones and go and...
No, of course not.
None of that?
And a couple of days later... the whole thing was dismissed because apparently the court got a letter from the Dutch prosecutor saying they were dropping the case due to, in quotations, basic and embarrassing errors.
So they're saying, without saying it, they ballsed up. They went on a rumour instead of actually looking at
we didn't bother to look at it, but now we have, we cocked up. But don't worry about CJ, he'll be fine.
Yeah. Don't worry about the huge trauma that we've caused an innocent man.
The fact he was jailed and splashed over the front pages of the papers claiming he'd murdered somebody.
Was there ever any apology in any of the papers?
I've had an apology from nobody.
Really?
About anything.
I'm really sorry. Because I'm not papers, but I'm kind of part of this machine.
Yeah.
And I believed it. I believed that. I didn't believe you'd murdered somebody, but I believed that was the quote from the book.
Yeah,
I didn't believe you'd killed someone. I thought it was quite a dramatic quote, and that the papers were building a story around it. But I believed that was the quote from the book, and I'm sure a lot of people listening today will be surprised that you never wrote those words. Mm-hmm. So that's several. The job, the sexual assault that wasn't, the murder that wasn't. That's three huge things to happen in a comparatively short space of time.
Yeah.
What's happened since, CJ?
It's got worse.
Go on.
In 2017, I made a reference and named the person who had accused me of sexual assault.
Yeah.
I was legally entitled to do that. Because the alleged assault took place in Scotland, which isn't covered by the England and Wales Sexual Offences Act, this person did not have anonymity, so I was perfectly legally entitled to name him.
Why did you decide to do that, if you don't mind me asking?
Because I'd still been facing non-stop criticism, non-stop abuse, people just accusing me of it all the time. And, frankly, I wanted some justice.
Yeah, okay.
I still hadn't had any closure, I still hadn't had any apology, and I'd lost everything. I'd lost my job, my livelihood, my career, my health, as you know, is failing, and I was unemployable. somehow he managed to find a solicitor. Don't know how he found this solicitor, but willing to represent him on a no-win, no-fee basis. Now, this solicitor, Freeth's in Birmingham, they took this case. Now, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but one of the head solicitors there, who has taken on celebrity cases in the past and given press interviews, again, maybe it's just a coincidence, but happens to have the same surname as the producer who suspended me from Eggheads.
Okay, now this is... Let me interrupt you, because they're obviously not here to defend themselves, but this is kind of a thread that I think I picked up, and maybe I've read too much into this. The thread that I think I've picked up is that you possibly believe that there is... I'm going to say the C word, CJ. There's a conspiracy against you. Is that close?
I would think there's certainly something going on behind the scenes.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, can I ask what because from... Listen, I don't know the full story. From where I am, I can see some really, really bad decisions. I can see some really, really bad luck, and I can see some huge cock-ups. I personally, I can't see a conspiracy. What makes you think that there is? This solicitors, Freeths, have pursued me for the last year and a half. First of all, for damages, claiming that I caused distress and loss to their client. Now, in about September 2018, I ran out of what money I had. I had to beg on social media for people to give me money for pay for legal fees, but I had to declare myself bankrupt. My solicitor and I told Freeths right at the beginning, I have no money. Yeah. I have no income. For the last, as it was 2 years then, I've been surviving on a monthly payment of disability living allowance and nothing else. I survive on one state benefit. I have no money, I have no income, no savings, no assets. I've got nothing. But they continue to pursue me. I declared bankruptcy last year. And they still have pursued me. They've put in a claim of £100,000 against my estate. All I've got left is the interest in my house. Now, even if they, as they are trying to force now, they managed to get the trustee who's taken over my bankruptcy to force the sale of my house, making me and my husband homeless. Yeah. All they will ever get back, the maximum they can get back is £40,000, I would say. But by their own even conservative estimate, they've spent £120,000. Right, okay. So they have pursued me for 3 years, for 2 years, knowing they're going to lose at least £70,000 or £80,000. Yeah. Why would they do that? Why would anybody willingly lose high tens of thousands of pounds if there wasn't something of some reasoning or somebody supporting them behind it? I have to say, because they're not here and because they're a legal firm, they can sue my ass, that if anybody from this legal company, maybe let's not mention their name again, but if anyone from the legal company ever wants to come on and put forward their side of the story or wants to send me a statement, I would be very, very happy to have a look at that and read that out, of course. And I'm just, just to flag up, please. We're only getting your side of the story at the moment. Okay, fine. What's wrong with you? What's your health? What's going on there?
As has been documented a few years ago, I had a very large tumour removed from my mouth. So I have had another cancer scare since then. Yeah. But my doctor also wanted to sign me off sick from absolutely everything and tell me to give me permanent bed rest because the last year and a half has taken such a detrimental toll on me. He said he was really worried about me. I've told him, no need to worry, I'm fine, I'm fine. We smile through what we can, so we just keep going. But, yeah, I mean, I have issues. I have to say the only thing that's kept me going in the last year and a half especially is running. I'm a very keen runner, and that's kept me healthy and happy.
Good luck with that, mate. You're on your own, CJ.
But,
the stress has got to you, though. I've seen...
The stress isn't doing much for me,
Yeah.
I've lost a lot of weight.
Me and Kath said as we came in, you look thin.
Yeah. I put that down to the training, but I think that's probably being generous.
Yeah. So what's next? No one... You were saying on Twitter again, no one's interested in the story. No one cares, it would appear. Yeah. We genuinely interested. Like I say, when I looked into it a bit, it was like, oh, okay, this is obviously some injustice has happened here.
At the moment, I'm fighting to save my house. It's the only asset I've got. And all it is my half of the equity in the house and my half of what the house is worth above its mortgage. The way it works is with a creditor, even one that's an unsecured claim put against my estate, if that goes to court, the trustee can force the sale of the house just to get their hands on that money. But here's something I didn't realise until recently. Not only is a trustee a government employee who is paid, they also get a commission on any of the monies and assets they seize, and they can be funded and have their expenses paid by one of the creditors.
It's a great life, isn't it?
It's wonderful, isn't it? So, for example, any of the creditors, let's say, I don't know, purely hypothetically, a solicitor, could pay the trustee's fees, and then the trustee could impartially look at their claim and say, oh, yes, I'll allow this, because if it goes through, then I'll get commission from that as well.
Listen, we're going to move on in a minute, but you turn to acting.
Yes.
You've won awards for acting. You're an award-winning actor.
I am, yes.
But no one's touching you because you're CJ, formerly of Eggheads, accused of sexual assault. There's all of the murderer. There's all of that shadow.
The thing is,
hanging over you.
When even the little hint of sexual assault, so that's panto out of the window. No chance of doing anything like that. Any of the big shows, they can't employ me because there's the baggage around. A couple of years ago, I actually went for a couple of meetings with ITV to do with The Chase. That would have been my dream job. Doing The Chase would have been fantastic. But unfortunately, since all this has blown up, there's no chance of me working. Well, even if they would, I don't think I would feel comfortable going on The Chase while this is still hanging over me, because I wouldn't want to in any way damage the brand.
Yeah.
In my humble opinion, The Chase is the premier quiz show around at the moment.
Yeah.
They couldn't be involved with me, and I wouldn't want to be involved with them until this is finished. If I can get my life back, then maybe I'll give them a call.
Do you think you get your life back? Are you optimistic? You must be, to keep plodding on, to come on here and tell this story, to go on Twitter and tell your story. There must be some optimism that you're clinging to.
The reason I tell my story is because I've got nothing to hide.
Yeah.
I'm telling the truth. Everything I've said, I can prove. I have done nothing wrong. I've written nothing wrong. I've said nothing wrong. I've broken no law, committed no offence. But even when on social media I do my little upbeat, inspiring videos every morning, you do it to try and help other people. There are always people who are worse off than you. And for the time being, I've still got a roof over my head, which is far more than a lot of people have got.
Just very quickly, a few people are saying, well, why doesn't he sue? You need money to sue.
If I could sue...
you need money
if I could sue, I would do. But to sue The Sun is hundreds of thousands of pounds. Of course, I'd win if I did. Yeah. But even a conservative estimate is 150 grand to sue any newspaper. I'd love to sue, but it costs money, and I don't have any. I'm bankrupt.
Hey, listen, man. I want you to. I don't want you to think that all of the media is against you. You know, I buy all of your story. Mm-hmm. The conspiracy thing, I can see how someone who's battled against it for 3-4 years would think that. I don't see a conspiracy, and I hope that you get the impression that by being invited on this show, and this is going to go out as a podcast on Monday, that not everyone in the media is against you. You know, you've got a friend here. If the story develops, you're very, very welcome to come back, CJ. I think you're a good man.
Thanks, mate.
I think you've had a lousy time. I think you've been treated appallingly. I think sexual assault accusations have to be investigated. But once it is shown, it's proven there is nothing, then I think the person who is accused should be welcomed back with open arms, if that's appropriate, and should be, apologised to, and should be put exactly in the position they were in before those accusations happened. And it's one of the many failings of the BBC that they haven't done that.
All I can say is the last 3 years have been hell. I've lost everything: job, career, livelihood, reputation, absolutely everything. I've lost a lot of weight, but at least my cheekbones look fabulous.
You look great, CJ. Hey, it's so nice to see you. Come back in, man, and let us know if anything happens.
Yep.
We'll carry on the show. 0344 499 1000. This is Talk Radio.
The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee. Unfiltered night talk with the original king of unconventional conversation on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
Well, that was amazing, wasn't it, Catherine? Nice to see you in the studio. Welcome back.
It really was, and it shows how easily something that you half read in the newspaper can imprint on the brain.
Fake news. They were doing fake news before Trump was doing it. I'd read that. I never thought he'd murdered somebody, but I remember the line about I punched him in the canal and I thought I'd killed him. Yeah. And I remember the papers conflating it into he's murdered someone.
Yeah, and then you see he's arrested,
Yeah.
and then you don't follow it up. You know,
That
I think
line was never in the book. It never existed, except on Wikipedia.
here's the thing, because he's the guy from Eggheads, right? That's what captures the imagination, and that's what people read, and then they move on. It's not like he is, you know, a big movie star or something like that. So that little drop, that little seed gets sown, and it never gets corrected.
I can't remember. Hang on a minute. Was it Carrie who? Carrie?
Yes.
Was it you that put me in touch with CJ?
Yeah.
Oh, mate, thank you. No, because when you did that, I sighed because I hate it when people at potential guests, and I was like, oh bloody hell, because quite often we never take them. But just this once, Carrie. Don't anyone else do it. Just this once. Thank you, because I did click on it and I did read, you know, a couple of his slightly ranty tweets, and then I did, thank God, make the effort to go and Google for 15 minutes and go, no, right, there is actually something here. So thank you, Kerry. What how come you were so you were aware of it?
There's a couple of connections. I wanted to say hello to him actually, and I've missed him. But never mind. Don't worry. I've never spoken to him directly. I've only spoken to him virtually, as you do in this day and age. But I mean, I'm from South Yorkshire. I'm from Sheffield. I'm an Eggheads fan. You know, I read his biography. I did an Amazon review for him on you know, of his autobiography.
Yeah.
And then when it all blew up, I've sort of just been a follower of his. And he's such a lovely man. I mean, the bit he hasn't told you, and I don't know whether he can still hear this, but he spends every single Christmas day giving out sleeping bags, hats, scarves, you know, to the homeless people in and around London or wherever he is at Christmas.
Yeah.
He did it in Birmingham, I think, this year. You know, and my heart just bleeds for him. He's such a lovely man, and I wish he could get some justice and some peace and closure. And
here's the thing:
you know,
the BBC ain't never going to admit they made a mistake. They won't. They don't. They just don't, because they're this big old dinosaur. You know, we're friends with Tony Blackburn, and Tony Blackburn got screwed over, right? Big time. And he was accused of stuff that never happened, and so the BBC had to let him go. Now, here's the thing, right? The BBC have never publicly apologised for what they did to him, but they knew they'd made a mistake, and 6 months later they gave him some really they started hiring him again. But they never came out and said, you know what, that thing with that, we made a big mistake and we're really sorry. They just quietly hired him again.
But Tony would never make a fuss about something like that, because he's a pro.
And they get it wrong. They get it wrong. They got it wrong with me on a much smaller scale. They got it wrong with Tony on a big scale. And they've obviously got it wrong with CJ.
But those decisions are made by 12 people of a massive organisation, and 12 people who will never discuss it with anyone else again. And there'll be a paper trail that no one will ever see until it's too late. It's just, it's so easily done. It's too easily done.
What's breaking my heart, though, is that he can't work at all doing anything. And that's really the thing that's upsetting me about it, you know, because he wants to work, he wants to do anything, he doesn't care what it is, he just wants to work, earn money, you know, keep his life going.
Of course it does. Well, listen, Kerry, hopefully, I was saying to this when we were off air, hopefully this is maybe, you know, it could go two ways. One, this is the only interview he does, or two, and hopefully, fingers crossed, this is kind of the first step towards some kind of, I don't know, image rehabilitation, you know, because that's what it is, his image. He's not done anything. It's the perception of him.
I knew that you and Kath would pick it up. I knew in that, when I saw that tweet for him, that he'd contacted all these different people, and I thought, I know two people who will at least give him a listen.
Well, I'm going to be honest, Kerry. I didn't think, having read the story, and I did interview him 14 years ago, and he's a good storyteller. I didn't think it was going to be as riveting as that, and it was. You know, I don't want to make light of it, but it was a great listen, and fingers crossed it will head in the right direction. Thanks so much, Kerry. I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. There we go. We'll take some calls after 11. I just need to let that sink in.
Yeah.
I just need to let that sink in. That's and throw a bit of cancer into the mix as well. You know what I mean? It's as if it couldn't get any worse.
Awful. It's absolutely awful.
And I do have to say again, he mentioned a legal firm. That legal firm isn't here to kind of put forward their side of the case. I'm fully aware we're just getting his side of the story, particularly around that the bankruptcy and the pursuing and stuff. If that legal firm, if you want to get in touch, would happily have a member of your team on air, would very happily read a statement if that's what you wanted to do. More than happy to give you the right to reply if you feel that you've been in any way hard done by. But the sexual assault to one side, it's the BBC, man. It's like when Gambaccini was found innocent, the BBC should have been throwing roses at his feet saying, right, OK, you got all your jobs back that you had before. What else do you want? And it should have been this, at the very least of thing, you take him out for a lunch and say, look, OK, hope you understand why we did it. We'd love to have you back if you'd come back. Would you consider it? That's what they need. That's it. Outrageous.
Yeah, because it doesn't account. You know that it's procedure, right?
Yeah.
And the suspension is procedure while it's investigated. And of course, no one would ever contest that that's necessary. CJ didn't, and I'm sure the other guys involved in various investigations wouldn't either. But I do think sometimes some people are more expendable than others.
Of course they are. Of course they are.
And like the reputation damage that was done by irresponsible reporting, lifting something from Wikipedia and not checking it. Yeah, there was a book. The book was there. Have a look at it. The fact is, if that was someone more powerful, more prominent, like I say, like a movie star or someone like that, that story would have been followed and that story would have been checked better.
Thank you, CJ. I don't think you can hear us now. He's in a cab on the way to the train station, but I really appreciate that. Thank you, Kerry, and thank for all the lovely tweets. It's very rare that we get a guest on and there's not one snarky tweet. That doesn't happen. There's always one going, this is boring. Who's this idiot? Not one. All in support. Thank you. Bill, stay there. You'll be the first caller after 11. Normal service resumes, dear listener. Back to the nonsense and the silliness. We've got one call lined up. I don't think we can stretch that for 2 hours, particularly not when it's just Bill in Leighton. Jokes, Bill, bants. 0344 499 1000 is the phone number. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. If you want to give us a call, you can come on about anything. Although I am considering banning Brexit again because it's boring. This is the Late Night Alternative every weeknight from 10 o'clock with Iain Lee and Catherine Boyle, only on Talk Radio.
The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
From the heavens to the bottom of the sea. Well, I stand at every corner of the world and
this song is. You know this song?
I've heard it before.
Julian Cope, Trampoline. Oh, man. Julian Pope. I can't read his books. There's two books. What are the two books? Head on, turned on, tuned on. I can't read the first one anymore because it's just all about him taking drugs. It's very, very funny. It's about him and his wife just taking acid every day and watching the monkeys. I can't read it now because I find that stuff triggering. But I remember reading it when I was that was my world, and I found it funny. The other big Julian Cope solo single, Not Teardrop Explodes, please. The other big Julian Cope solo hit, Not Reward by the Teardrop Explodes. I'm talking about this. Here we go. What's this rubbish? Hang on. Oh, this is live. We don't want live. We don't want live. Hang on a minute. We don't want live. Who wants live? You know this. This is a great song. This is a great song. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This one?
Well, take him out.
Yes, sir.
Is my microphone really quiet?
No, the music's really loud, baby. Yeah. Touch your mouth, put your head back in the clouds, flying in the face of fashion now. There we go. Let's go to Bill. Let's do this. Good evening, Bill.
Hello, Ian. Hello, Kath. How are you?
Hello, Billiam.
We're a billion times better for hearing your voice, young lady.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome,
young man.
You're welcome. Some people say that.
Or old man.
Some people say welcome.
Yeah, Alan Partridge.
No, but some real people say welcome.
Oh, why?
Welcome, because it's well and
very, very Chinese.
Okay, veering into racism.
Let's skip from that.
Yeah, he's not wrong though. Now, okay.
Stop it!
Hey. Anyway, sorry, Bill. You Wang. What can we do for you? Hey, come on, guys. He's got something he wants to get off his chin. Let's hear it. All right, yes, man.
This is actually a serious call, Ian.
Okay.
The first hour of your show, CJ. Oh my God, that
some story, huh?
Literally, this call. I've been thinking about it all day. It's about something you mentioned last night.
Oh yeah, go on.
And I've worked out that I need to be as not vague, but less. What's the word? Liable, stuff like that. So bear with me.
All right. So you're just going to be a bit careful.
You be a bit careful, and we got a dump button here. We're all good.
Yeah, no.
We got you covered.
No curse words. It's more of a subject matter. I'm not going to go into anything that's going to shake too many feathers.
Okay.
Ruffle. Basically, you mentioned someone who is an acquaintance of mine, but he was best friends with a relative of mine who's now deceased.
Yes, okay.
Brian Harvey.
Oh, okay, yes, Brian Harvey. Yeah. He was having a lousy time last night, apparently. Yeah,
I read in the paper that he's been hospitalised.
Okay.
And that's what I'm worried about. It's all a little bit fishy.
Okay, go on. Why? In what way do you think?
I think, obviously, he's had what I'm not going to mention, the other court case against
don't mention
him.
any court cases, but yeah, go on.
No, nothing. No. I'm not going to mention no details.
No.
It just seems like he's being censored. That's the roundabout way of saying it, and I don't believe he's suicidal from what I know of him.
Okay.
And this is the only forum that will... I respect your forum.
Well, no, listen, because like I said, I spoke to Brian. I don't even remember it. Well, maybe it was a year ago, 8 months ago. I don't know, and I've lost his phone number.
It was August last year.
August,
when it all kicked off.
And I've lost his phone number. So when I saw he was struggling last night, I wanted to WhatsApp him. That's how we were generally communicating, apart from one phone call. But somehow during the phone, I've changed phones and I've lost his... I didn't save his number. I just had it as a WhatsApp conversation. That conversation's gone. Still got his email, so I did send him an email last night just saying, Brian, are you all right? Is there anything I can do to help? That's the least I could do as a human being.
Yeah.
And he was, when I spoke to him in August, he was convinced that there was... I don't want to say the word conspiracy because then that makes people go, oh, right, a conspiracy, you say.
It's delicate.
It's delicate, isn't it? But he was convinced that the media was against him, that particularly Murdoch media was against him.
I won't even mention Murdoch or
no.
Like
I mean, Murdoch's our boss, right? And I would have very happily had Brian in the studio on the phone telling his side of the story. He chose not to, and I completely respect that, and I totally got why. But you're saying that
a few months ago I mentioned it, and you said, to be fair to you, you said the same thing, and I respect your forum, but I also respect your employers.
Yeah. Well, you know, but so you're saying that. You're saying that. You don't think he was. I don't know the full details. I've not read a lot of the stories.
I've got the Metropolitan Police statement.
Let's have the police statement, and then we can kind of have a look at that.
This is what they're saying, according to theguardian.com. Approximately 18:09 on Thursday, 21st of March, police were alerted to a man threatening self-harm. Officers subsequently attended an address in Walthamstow to complete a welfare check. Following a mental health assessment at hospital, the man has been taken into police custody where he remains. He did not suffer any injuries.
Knowing him how I know him, he's quite a strong-minded guy.
Yeah. A lot of strong-minded guys do take their own lives.
Of course. You've been there. I've been. Obviously, we've not done it, but we've veered near that narrative. No, it's just I smell a rat. He has a lot of information. Let's just say.
Oh, he was telling me a lot about paedophiles, celebrity paedophiles. And I think he does. I think he does actually have a lot of information about something like that.
I'm not even going to go there. It's someone personal to me who's my relative.
Yeah.
I don't mind telling Kath or someone after the call off the air just to enlighten you personally.
That's okay. You don't need to, man. You keep your cards as close to your chest as you want.
I don't want to disrespect the forum. No. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to. I don't want to take liberties.
It's a good name for the show. We should change it to the Forum. The Forum with Iain and Kath.
The late night forum.
It sounds like some American thing. I like it. But so hang on. When was it? Can I ask? When was the last time you spoke to Brian?
It was back in probably the autumn, September, October.
Oh, okay. So fairly recently. Then.
Yeah, well, it's more my family member who's now deceased. I'm sure you've read it somewhere along the line. It's something to do with the news of the world. It's something to do with a sting.
Yeah, I know the story. Yeah.
From around 2002.
Yeah.
So the guy involved in that is my relative. He's now he had an unfortunate accident around 2-3 years ago now.
Right.
He was a young man. God bless him. So it was proved to be a setup. I just think this is a way of shutting him up, basically. I think it's just strange how it's all come along because he's been doing stuff on YouTube, other YouTubers.
Was he not? I'm going to stop in a minute, Bill, because I do feel slightly uncomfortable second-guessing what may or may not have been going on when we haven't heard from him. And I hope you understand that.
Yeah,
but was he not streaming... saying that he wanted to self-harm, he wanted to take his own life, was that not the thing, that he was actually, there is video footage of him doing that, that's what alerted the authorities?
It's all been deleted. I've not seen it.
Right. Oh, well,
to be fair.
Okay. Well,
if you
listen,
please tell me.
Listen, we after talking to CJ and how stuff can get passed around very quickly that isn't true, you're right, Bill, to kind of pull us up on a little bit of footage that actually we haven't seen.
And do you know what else I found disturbing yesterday?
Same with me. I've not seen it.
Hang on, Bill. Go
Something
on,
else I found disturbing yesterday is that people were contacting Daniela Westbrook, who's got problems of her own, as if somehow she was going to swoop in and save the situation. And again, based on footage that most people. I'm assuming some people might have seen it, but I haven't been able to verify it. By the time I was alerted to it, it had gone.
He's right.
The thing is, him and Daniela Westbrook, they're not on the greatest of terms.
Yeah.
They've hardly spoken in years.
Also, she was saying she just got out of rehab and she's not in a great place, so it's tormenting,
All right, Bill. Listen, I'm going to move on just because not because this is some great Murdoch censorship
thing. Can I
thing.
sing a song off the subject for you before I go?
Yeah, please do, mate. Thank you.
Let's enlighten it. So I'm not enlightening it. Lighten it up. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm not
He's going to enlighten it. Bill's going to enlighten us. Jeez.
Bloody hell! We're all in trouble. With
Exactly.
That,
Go on, Bill.
All right. Let's sing a song.
Wow.
Completely off the subject.
Old school.
Okay. I'll do it just for you, Ian and
Thank
Kath.
you, mate. We appreciate this.
Do you know, Bill, I've got a lot of time for you.
My sister's favourite caller, Scott Balcony's favourite caller.
Yeah.
Lot of big celebrity fans out there.
I'm going shy now.
Yes, man.
Sing us a song,
Right.
Bill. Sing us a song.
Let's sing a song. All right, then.
Here we go.
I listen every night, but I don't feel the need to call. I don't want to be a fool, but I listen. I listen and then I phone, 'cause my favourite presenters are Iain and Kath. They're always having a laugh.
Oh, God.
They're good friends, but they don't share a bath.
No,
'Cause she's married
Save
and
water.
Ian's divorced, but he's a good father.
See how he's going to turn this around.
That's not the only reason.
He takes his kids to the game fair and he buys them PS2 Slimline.
He's right.
He's a good father, he don't give them wine.
Well,
not until they're 17, maybe 18
Okay,
for legal reasons.
Okay, it's getting weird now, Bill. I'm going to cut you off. Thank you very much. What strange...
The creepiest bit was, I listen.
Thank you, Bill. 0344 499 1000. Here's I'm going to do a question for you, a trivia question.
Give
Listen
me
to
a
the
trivia
George
question.
Martin biography.
Uh-huh.
Great, it's all about the Beatles.
Is it?
And I'd forgotten this. Their first recording session outside of Abbey Road was at a recording studios in Tottenham Court Road in late 66, I think it was early 67. The song they were recording was a song entitled Fixing a Hole.
Oh, yeah.
That appeared on Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts
Fixing a hole where the rain
That's the
comes
one.
in. Right.
Abbey Road was booked up.
Mhm.
Paul said, I've got this song. We've got to go. So they booked it. There was a celebrity, a very famous person. The Beatles would often have famous people at their sessions. One of the most famous people that has ever lived was at the Fixing a Hole session at Tottenham Court Road with the Beatles.
In 19 what?
67. But who was it? 0344 499 1000. I'll tell you.
Uncut after-hours conversation for the up-all-night generation. The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio. We'll get you talking.
So the Beatles, their first session outside of Abbey Road was recording studios in Tottenham Court Road. They're recording Fixing a Hole. And on the way, Paul gets in his car to drive there from North London, wherever it was he was living. I can't remember where he was living. And he saw a celebrity and he went, "Who are you?" And the bloke told him and he went, "Oh, do you want to come to a studio and as long as you're quiet, do you want to come and watch us recording a song?" "Yeah, I'd love to." Rocks up at the studio, everyone goes, "Who's that?" "Oh, all right, fair enough. Okay, Fixing a Hole, is it? Let's go." Any ideas?
The one that leaps to mind.
Yes.
Must be wrong.
One of the most famous people that's ever walked this earth.
Like Stan Laurel or
Ever.
something.
No. Stan Laurel was dead at that point.
Yeah, I thought it might be.
Do you want to know?
Go on.
Jesus Christ.
Oh.
It's Jesus Christ. Paul McCartney comes out of his house, there's a bloke there with long hair and a beard. He says, "Who are you?" He says, "I'm Jesus." And the way Paul tells it, Paul says, I thought, well, it's probably not, but I couldn't be sure, so I invited him along to the session. I said, as long as you keep quiet and don't make a fuss, you can come and sit in the session with us. Gets to the studio and goes, "Who's that?" "Oh, it's Jesus Christ." "All right, okay, so what song are we doing?" Isn't that brilliant?
Yeah.
Just some bloke. And they never saw him again. He sat in the session, watched them recording Fixing a Hole, and that was it. They never saw him again.
The second day he was risen.
Jesus Christ was sat in the session for Fixing a Hole on the overrated Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. For me, Revolver is the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper. 0344 499 1000. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I've got a bit of gospel in me. I feel gospel. I feel,
Well,
The gospel. I think we know what I mean by that. Oh, 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 yeah, Martha, oh, yeah, Jesus Christ, yeah, sing it out loud, oh, yeah, he saved my soul, oh, Jesus Christ, it was a work in the Spirit,
okay.
Oh, he saved my soul.
Offensive now.
It's not offensive.
Good.
Oh,
well
religion.
done.
Oh, right. Christianity's offensive,
No,
is it? But you wouldn't
no.
say that to a Muslim. Hey, but tell you what, if you love it so much, why don't you marry Islam?
What?
Why don't you go to Islamistan and marry it if you love it so much? This is a Christian country. I will sing songs about God in this country, my country. 'Tis of thee.
Well, no, I wasn't offended by the material.
Oh.
Just this sort of presentation.
Okay, that's fair enough. And I apologise, I misunderstood you there. I take back everything I said. Probably best you don't go and marry Islamistan, actually. 0344 499 1000 is the... Oh! I thought this would be a fun game.
Well, let's see about that.
And you'll be good at this. Can we find... We'll start with the name Paul first, and then we'll move on to the name John. We'll start with Paul. It's just a little bit of Friday night fun. That's all it is. It's just a little bit of Friday night fun.
Let's have it.
Can we list the name Paul in as many different languages as possible?
Okay.
Because Paul and John they're in every language, but they're not. It's like, because in Spanish Paul would be Pablo, and in Italian it would be Paolo.
Yeah.
In French, would it be Paulie?
Paul.
Is it? Mm-hmm. Lazy bastards.
Mm-hmm. Even of Jean-Paul Gaultier.
Jean-Paul. Oh, Jean. We're not doing John yet.
No.
Not doing John yet. That's round 2.
Okay.
So let's write these down. So we're going to write down Paul.
Yeah.
So French is Paul.
Yeah.
Spanish, and I'm just writing the first 2 letters of the country to save. Otherwise, if I write the whole thing, it would take ages. Spanish is Pablo. Italian is Paolo.
French Paul.
I've got French. Polish.
Pavel.
Yeah, we go. Yeah, exactly. Pavel. That's a good one. Pavel.
And would it be Pavel in Russian?
It could be. Let's ask line 3. Line 3. Hello.
Hi, it's Naveed.
Hey, how you doing, man? We're trying to find as many different. Is there? What's your what background are your grandparents or your parents?
My mum and dad are Pakistani.
Pakistani. Is there an equivalent? Is there a Pakistani version of the name Paul?
Probably not.
Oh. Well, what can we do for you this evening?
I'm really depressed. I tried to take my life last week.
Shut up, man! What'd you do that for? That's terrible. Have you spoken to a doctor?
No.
Have you spoken to? Okay, all right, okay. Have you spoken to anyone about this?
No, really, no.
Okay. Have you got any family that you can call? Do you live with any family?
I live with my mum and my brother, but they don't understand that I'm about my blindness.
Yeah, I know that. I get it. Can you not speak? I can understand why it might be difficult to speak to your mum about this, but could you speak to your brother?
I could, but he doesn't want to hear it.
Okay. Is there anybody, a friend, a relative, a religious figure? Is there anyone you can speak to? Because what you did is not good, and you can't do it again. Okay. So
I could talk to my sister, but she just had a baby boy on Tuesday.
Okay, well, maybe... Okay, well, yeah, okay. But do you get on with your sister?
Yeah, she's only 1 year younger than me.
And do you speak to her about your mental health?
Yeah, I do, but she says to me that in our religion, it's haram to basically kill yourself or anything else.
Now? Because I'm an idiot. What's haram? What does that mean? Bad, a sin.
Yeah, I mean it's not allowed. Yeah, it's bad.
Gee, well, this is what we're dealing with. No wonder people kill themselves. Okay, do you have a doctor?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Right. You need to speak to your doctor, man, because you came very, very close this week to not being here tonight. And I'm glad you're here tonight, to slightly paraphrase a Neil Diamond song, because who else would I be talking to at 11:29 on a Friday? We'd have empty air. We'd have silence if you hadn't have called in at this moment in time. So I'm glad that you're still alive, right? And I want you to stay alive, but I also don't want you to continue being in the pain that you were in the other day when you tried to do this thing to yourself.
Yeah.
So we need what we need to do, and what you need to do is we need to find a way to making sure that doesn't happen again. Was there anything in particular that happened that caused you to try and do that?
Yeah, I've got no life, mate. I wake up, I sit in the same position. I do my thing, go to the bathroom or have a shower, come back, and I'm still stuck in the same spot.
Right. Okay.
I spend at least 22 hours a day sat on the floor.
Okay. Don't tell me. I don't want to know the street. I don't want to know the area. But what can you? Are you able to tell me what town? Are you in a big town?
No, I'm in a small town.
Okay. Have you spoken to the RNIB, the organisation for blind people?
I've spoken to everyone I could in my area, but unfortunately, they're all catered for people that are in the 60s to 90s, and I'm in my mid-30s.
No. The RNIB, I'm pretty sure
they can only give me advice on things. The charities that are based in my town, they cater for people in the 60s and 90s.
Okay. But can they not surely...
I've never seen no young person my age.
Yeah. Surely they must be able to... Can I ask what town you're in? Would you mind telling me that?
I'm in Huddersfield.
Huddersfield's a big town, man. Yeah, Huddersfield's a good town. And I can't believe that the RNIB or another charity for blind people can't find... How old are you, 43?
37.
37, okay, all right. I cannot believe that there is not something for a blind 37-year-old young man to do in Huddersfield.
There isn't. Everything's in Bradford or Leeds, but them charities that are based in Bradford and Leeds that cater for young blind people do not work in Huddersfield. They're in their own catchment areas.
Okay, I get that. All right, well, listen, I don't want to fall out with you. So what are we going to do?
I don't know, because when you're blind, you're a burden around your family. You're like that weight around their neck, that unless you drop that weight, they'll never be free, and I'll never be free.
I'm thinking. What are you thinking, Kath?
I'm thinking I could have a chat with some contacts I have who might be able to open up Naveed's world a little bit, because it sounds like it's the walls are coming in on you, aren't they?
They are. I've been blind for 3 years. I used to reverse engineer software products or hardware products for free, but I can't do nothing anymore, so I've got no life anymore now.
Well, let's sort something out. Do I have your permission to ask them to get in contact with you? Have you got your own mobile and stuff?
Yeah, I've got my number. Yeah.
Is it okay for me to pass that on?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let me have a little look. But I think the advice about going and seeing your doctor is probably good too.
I went to my doctors about 2 weeks ago, and I said to them I need a DNR form, which is do not resuscitate, in case my heart stops. And she looked at me and she goes, I'm not willing to give you that because you normally get that when you're terminally ill. And I am terminally ill because I'm a diabetic and my internal organs are shutting down.
Naveed, I get it. Naveed, I get it. But you're asking the doctor the wrong question. They're not going to put a do not resuscitate on an otherwise healthy 37-year-old diabetic. They're not.
Yeah, I understand that, but you've got to understand that I've got no life.
I get it.
Even though if I do have a heart attack and they do bring me back, what have I got?
I get it.
I've got no one. My mom's 60.
Yeah.
My brother's 28. My sister lives in Manchester. She's got 3 kids. I can't drag them around.
Go and get it. You go out there and get it. Get ready. Actually, sit with me for a bit, and then we'll go out in a second because I could do with your hubby. I get it, Naveed. I get it. But supposing there is more to life than just what you've got at the moment. Supposing we were able to introduce some people that could show you that there is more to life than just you sitting in that room.
Yeah, I'd go for it, but you've got to realize that I can't walk out of the door on my own without having my hand on someone's shoulder.
Okay.
When they walk, I walk. When they stop, I stop.
I get it.
And the only person that at the moment can take me out and about is my mom. But my mom's 60 years old. She's got arthritis in her back, and she's got arthritis in her legs.
Here's the thing, right? We got quite a few blind listeners, and we got a guy called Manny, right, who was injured 5-6 years ago at work and lost his eyesight, went blind. He phoned us up on the day that he had tried to kill himself. He was going to slit his wrists, and he was really close to doing it, and something stopped him. And he called us, and he was distraught. He was in pieces. He's a good man, Manny. I got a lot of time and respect for him. He was in pieces, right? And we finally managed to hone in on what the problem was. And the problem for him was that he wasn't working. It was all this stuff about his kids and his work. But we honed in on the problem, and the problem for him was that he wasn't working. And he couldn't get a job because he was blind, right? We got Manny a job. I'm simplifying the story slightly, but I think it's important. We got Manny a job. Yeah. Manny calls us now. Still blind. We didn't fix that. But he's still working 6, 7, 8 months later. He's got, he's happy. He's full of pride, self-pride. And he's planning his daughter's wedding, right? What I'm trying to say to you, Naveed, is it isn't. Things can be turned around.
He's a lucky one that's got someone that loves him. Most blind people.
No. His wife was pissed off with him. His wife was pissed off with him. He was sitting at home drinking. His wife didn't really want to know. His kids didn't live at home. He was sitting at home drinking, planning killing himself. He was in a similar position to you, and he's managed to turn it around with a little bit of help from us. How come you've not got a guide dog?
It's not allowed in our religion, where we pray 5 times a day.
You're not allowed to have a guide dog in Islam?
No.
Where does it say that?
No.
Where does it say that? Who's told you that? Because that's bollocks.
It says you are not allowed to have dogs in a house where you pray 5 times a day.
How's that working out for you?
It's not working out for me.
Well,
but
can you not compromise? Is there no compromise, Naveed? And realising that, hey, listen, while your religion is great, and while your religion is serving a purpose, that just maybe, can you Google that? Just maybe, Islam and Guide. Can you, that just maybe they might Islam might have got it wrong on this one.
Maybe, but the thing is, a guide dog won't talk to me, isn't it?
No. No. This is a different thing. I don't know, Naveed. I'm going to stop you there. This is a different thing. I don't want to know. I'm not interested in the talking thing for a moment. I've seen Muslim people with guide dogs.
I'm reading something here. A blind Muslim student yesterday became, and this isn't from. This is an old story.
I've seen Muslim people with guide dogs.
Became the first person to be allowed to take a guide dog inside a UK mosque. So if you can take it inside a mosque,
you can take it inside your house.
Yeah, it depends on his situation. But like I said to you before, my mom's 60. She ain't gonna look after the dog.
You look after the dog. You look after the dog.
Can I just read
when
it?
I can't see my...
Naveed. It's a guide dog. Blind people look after guide dogs very, very successfully. Now, I'm going to say this with respect, and I'm not in any way having a go. I'm saying this with respect, and I'm saying it with love. The argument about not being able to look after it kind of feels like you're starting to make excuses for not even considering it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean, but what's my purpose?
Okay, well, that's a different thing. That's a different thing. Having a guide dog helps a lot of blind people rediscover their purpose. You were saying you can't get out. With a guide dog, you can get out. With a guide dog, you can go to the shops. With a guide dog, you can go out for a walk. You can go to the park.
Yeah, but...
So we've moved on from it's not allowed in my religion, and I'm going to be honest, every other excuse you've come up with is rubbish. Every other excuse for not having a guide dog is easily sorted. Now, listen, I don't know how easy it is to get a guide dog. I've got no idea. But your excuses for coming up, for not getting a guide dog, I'm afraid, don't withstand any scrutiny at all, Naveed.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm going to suggest. We haven't got your number. It's come up withheld. I'm going to suggest that Catherine talks to you off air in a minute to get your phone number. I'm going to ask with respect that you don't kill yourself this weekend. Can you make it to Monday without killing yourself?
I can try, yeah.
Okay. No. No, because we're going to put in quite a bit of work. So I don't want to... I need you to put in quite a bit of work. So, because if you're just going to try, then, there's not really much point in us doing this. I need your word. I need a promise that you're not going to kill yourself this weekend and that we'll speak to you on Monday.
Yeah, I'll give you my word.
You give me your word, all right? That's a promise, and you can't go back on that, okay?
Yeah, I know
okay.
that, yeah.
Well, I'm going to give you my word then, that me and Catherine, mainly Catherine because she's better at this kind of stuff, but me and Catherine, and with some help from the people on Twitter who are going to suggest some names and are already suggesting names, thank you very much, that we're going to do our best to look into how easy it is to get a guide dog. I've got absolutely no idea. And also other options of people who can possibly help make your life worth living.
Yeah.
Do we have your permission? Catherine's going to come off air in a minute and take your phone number off air. Do we have your permission, Naveed? It's really important, this, to give your phone number and your details to... We won't give it to anyone dodgy, but to organisations official organisations that might be able to help.
Yeah, okay.
We got your permission. There we go.
And can I just lay to rest this idea about the guide dog?
Please do, Catherine. Go on, what have you found?
I'm reading further on in this thing about this 18-year-old Mohammed who is now allowed to go into his place of worship in Leicester with his dog. The the Muslim Sharia Council UK issued a fatwa in response to his request, saying... Previously, of course, and you know this is the bit you know, Naveed, that dogs were banned from mosques because the Islamic faith historically sees them as being for guarding and hunting only. But the position's been softened because those guide dogs are classed now as working dogs. So the animals are still not allowed in the prayer hall for the sake of hygiene, but they're allowed to guide the owners to the area where shoes are placed, and that's where you'd leave your dog. So guide dogs for the blind are all over this because they want to make sure that people aren't trapped inside the houses. So I'm thinking I'm going to put them in touch with you, and you can talk about the possibility, right? Because they've done this a gazillion times, and I'll also find some other really, really helpful contacts for you, so that you'll get out from those four walls, because it must be driving you absolutely crackers.
Yeah.
So here's what just in summary. You've promised, and you can't go back on it, Naveed. You've promised you're not going to kill yourself this weekend, and we're going to speak on Monday night, okay?
Yeah.
Me and Catherine have promised that we are going to look at some stuff over the weekend, and I can see people tweeting me stuff already. Thank you for any organisations in or near Huddersfield that can help a young 37-year-old blind Muslim chap as yourself. And we'll have this stuff takes time, but we'll have a little chat on Monday's show, and we'll see where we've got to. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Naveed? You're a good man. You haven't done anything wrong. I love you, I love you. And I promise you, we can make things better than they are now.
Yeah.
I'll speak to you on Monday, Naveed.
Yeah.
I'll speak to you Monday night, okay? Stay on the line, because Catherine's going to speak to you, okay? You're a good man. You're a good man. Let's take a break.
Across the UK, online and on DAB.
The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
Constipation relief leaves me singing with glee. I'm strutting my stuff for the whole world to see.
Senecot Max
helps me feel free.
Natural Senna
double strength
helps me back to normality. That's how a wonderfully regular life can be.
I love doing a poo. 344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Remainers. I know we said no Brexit, but this is a big story, actually. This is a big breaking story about Brexit. Remainers might have reason to start celebrating. It looks like. Hang on a minute. I don't even need to say it. I've got a clip of it myself. Hang on. It looks like
they've cancelled Brexit.
Have you seen this? The latest story, Catherine, about how they've
cancelled Brexit.
It's happening. It's being cancelled.
Right.
Brexit is being cancelled. Illusionist Uri Geller has told Theresa May he will not allow her to lead Britain out of the EU. In an open letter to the Prime Minister, the Israeli-British TV personality said he felt physically and very strongly that most Britons were anti-Brexit and promised to stop the process telepathically. He wrote,
I feel physically and very strongly that most British people do not want Brexit. I love you very much, but I will not allow you to lead Britain into Brexit. As much as I admire you, I will stop you telepathically from doing this. And believe me, I am capable of executing it. Before I take this drastic course of action, I appeal to you to stop the process immediately while you still have a chance.
Geller, who is currently in Israel bullshitting to some people over there, used to live in Sonning, which lies in May's Maidenhead constituency. In his letter, he said he had known the Prime Minister for 21 years and that she had visited his home. He added,
3 years before you became Prime Minister, I predicted your victory when I should...
Go on.
Oh, hang on a minute. Wasn't ready for that.
What's caught you by surprise?
Oh, I wasn't ready for that. We'll have another run at that sentence. Make sure you pay attention at home. This is a classic. Uri Geller added,
3 years before you became Prime Minister, I predicted your victory when I showed you Winston Churchill's spoon on my Cadillac, which I asked you to touch.
How does he say these sentences without laughing?
It's very difficult. He also claimed he is using the power of his mind to ensure that
Jeremy Corbyn never gets the keys to number 10 Downing Street.
Well, if he does, or you can just bend them. He won't be able to get in. Oh! Sorry. I'll read the next sentence.
I will ensure that they bend out of all proportion to ensure he never takes up residence there.
He wrote... Wow. Geller rose to prominence in the 1970s with an act... this is really interesting how they're phrasing it. Act, illusionist, TV personality. Isn't that interesting?
Be careful, yeah.
No, they're not being careful. They're not being careful. They're not saying... They're deliberately saying he's a presenter like the bloke off Homes Under the Hammer. Homes Under Hannah, which is there's a different show. They're not in any way suggesting that he might have psychic abilities. Illusionist. Well, that's Paul Daniels. TV presenter. That's me. Act, with an act based around his apparent psychic powers. That's a great line. I like Uri Geller. I've got a lot of time for Uri, but, you know, it's all bullshit. Good evening, Gatford.
Why was Scarface giving that...
shut your face. You shut your face. I was not Cuban.
Sounded very Cuban. Interesting to hear Mr. Geller's point of view there.
Exactly. Well, he's going to stop Brexit. What do you want, boy?
Well, no, interestingly as well, he's also factually incorrect. There are no keys to number 10.
Well, how do they... shut your face. How the hell do they get in?
Well, they don't. It opens from the
inside.
They
don't get in. So, excuse me. Excuse me. Sorry. Excuse me. No, shut up.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. I said, how do they get in?
Right.
I'm going to cut you off in a second. You've been waiting for an hour and it's going to be worthless. I said, how do they get in? And you said they don't. Argument over, buddy. You have totally embarrassed. How do they get in? They don't. Oh, you've totally embarrassed yourself. That means everything else you say is completely irrelevant to any conversation anywhere in the world. Because, trust me, they do get into number 10, mate. What did you call him for? I'd leave the number 10 and Regatta stuff to one side, mate. You've embarrassed yourself. What did you actually call him for?
Well, I called in with an interesting fact that perhaps you'd like to know. I don't know whether I should bother now, but I'm going to. I'm going to proceed. I mean, you've embarrassed me on national radio.
Yeah. I bet it's not interesting, but let's have it.
Okay. Were you aware that the first Monopoly board was not square but circular?
Yep.
Okay. And are you aware? Did you know what the S on the Superman uniform stands for?
What the S? Hang on. What?
The symbol S. On the front of Superman's kit.
Yes.
What does it stand for?
Well, everybody knows that.
Go on, tell me then. You're somebody who's a part of everyone.
Excuse me?
Well, you're part of the everyone.
It was the family crest for his family. Everyone knows that.
Mm-hmm. When he was Kal-El.
No, it's a symbol from Krypton. It's nothing to do with
No. You're going to say it's a symbol of hope.
No.
Well, what are you going to say?
What are you, Uri Geller?
Go on, what is it? Go on.
It's a symbol from Krypton.
Right, which means...
Some believe... I don't know.
For Jesus.
I don't believe it's hope.
Hang on a minute.
What do you come on doing that voice for? The I'm going to tell you something important voice, when actually you don't know.
You don't know anything. So what does... do you know what, Catherine, do you know what the A in that talk radio... in the talk radio logo stands for? I'll tell you. It's a symbol.
Oh, thanks. That's that sorted then.
You know the VW on the front of those German Volkswagen cars. Do you know what it means?
Is it a symbol from Germany?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I always wondered.
Great call, Gatford. Thanks a lot. Flippin' heck.
Alive.
It's a symbol. Yeah, okay, it's a symbol. Yeah, you're right. Maybe just try and hone it down a little bit, you absolute bell cheese.
The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
There is a barber showing photographs of every head he's had the pleasure to know, and all the people that come and go stop and say hello. On the corner is a banker with a motor car. The little children laugh at him behind his back, and the bank there's another customer. We see the banker sitting waiting for a trim. And then the fireman rushes in from the pouring rain. Very strange. Penny Lane is in my ears and in my eyes. There beneath the blue suburban skies I sit and eat wild back. Penny Lane is in my ears and in my eyes. There beneath the blue suburban skies. Penny Lane. What a suitable ending, I think.
I love the Beatles. I love the Beatles.
I noticed.
I really, really like the Beatles. Switchboard's empty for the first time this evening, dear listener. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. If you're waiting for a question, we've got a lot of new listeners tonight, partly because we had CJ in, and partly because I just think people have stumbled across us because they realise all of the other radio stations are dull. If you're waiting for a question, if you're waiting for a topic, sometimes we do. We haven't really asked a question tonight. We're just sat here chatting, and it's been an unusual show by any stretch of the imagination. You can call in about the stuff we've talked about so far, or you can call in about anything you want. You'll get on the air, you'll speak to Amy, she'll take your name and number, call you straight back, and you'll get on. 0344 499 1000. The best we've come up with for a topic is trying to come up with as many different versions of Paul in different foreign languages. So far, we've got in France, the name Paul is Paul. In Spain, it's Pablo. In Italian, it's Paolo. And in Polish, it's Pavel. There's got to be more. This earlier, when I was sat in the car and it hit me, I thought, "Oh, that's gonna, we're gonna get an hour out of that."
In Greek, isn't it Paulos?
Never heard that. And I've been to Greece.
But you know a lot of Nicks.
So many Nicks.
And Georges.
So many Nicks. And I know a lot of Yorgos. Yorgos. Or as my kids call them because they can't say it. They couldn't say it. They couldn't now. Yo-yos. Yo-yos. Yo-yos is coming. Yorgos. Yorgos. I want to make love to Yorgos.
Oh, I like the idea of the Yorgos.
I want to make love in Argos to Yorgos.
I went out with a lad called Nectarius.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very briefly.
Yep.
Took me a long time to shake him off.
Well, they're very hairy, the Greek men. Very, very hairy. Indeed. 0344 499 1000. You've been quite quiet, Catherine, so it's a new feature that I call the Spotlight. I call it Spotlight on Catherine, or SOK, or SOC.
SOC.
Call it SOC, and it means Spotlight on Catherine, and it's where Catherine Spotlight. I be quiet. I mean, it's so much easier for you, Catherine, because you're more beautiful than I. But it's Spotlight on Catherine. I be quiet, she be loud, we all be laughing.
Oh,
Catherine.
Oh, I like the big build-up. What do I owe this pleasure?
Do you remember on TV shows like That's Life, where there'd be like a member of the team like Doc Cox, where
that's not a real name, is it? That's a That's Life name.
Yeah, Doc Cox. He used to be called Ivor Biggin. He did, you know, the Ivor Biggin song. I'm a winker. I'm a winker, you know.
And I do know that.
But there was always a member of the team on those panel shows. Where we had it on the 11 o'clock show when Mackenzie was hired as the third presenter, and no one knew what to do with him. So we go, well, let's find out what Mackenzie is up to now. So now it's SOC, Spotlight on Catherine, SOFOK. I'd be quiet, she'd be loud, we all be laughing. Catherine.
Well, as you know, I take a keen interest in words. Foreign words, English words, old-fashioned words, Scottish words.
Foreign words, English words. That's pretty much all the words covered.
Some Scottish words too.
OK.
My favourite Scottish word has finally got the recognition it deserves.
Yeah.
Editors have included more than 40 Scottish words, including the slang term for the scrotum, bobag.
This is great. I saw this yesterday. Go on.
Defined as a foolish or annoying person. Bobag, pronounced ball bag, and is a noun. Often used pejoratively in the same way that scrotum can be used pejoratively, specifically applied pejoratively to one who is foolish or annoying, or conversely may be used as a term of endear-bag. I'm sorry, I'm leaping ahead. Endearment. Example. John Burkow is a ballbag. That's actually the example in the paper.
Who?
John Burkow. Burko.
Thank
Burkow.
you.
Burkow?
Burko.
Nina Mishkov. Nina Mishkow. Miskow.
Can I say something? Did you just fart?
No, it's my toe in my shoe.
Your toe in your shoe. Oh, right. Of course it was Reggie Perrin. When I was about 15, 16, I had a real crush on Nina Mishkov.
Did you?
Fiery, feisty,
bit mean,
controlling older woman. Oh,
I only remember her.
Oh gosh,
in that guise from New Faces, where she would be the one to tell people they were crap.
Oh, she was the Simon Cowell. I don't remember being like that. I just remember being like, you know, an arch commentator on This Morning, things like that. I just remember 15, 16, thinking, oh, blimey, yes, please. Yes, please, miss.
The OED calls ballbag a disparaging way to describe an ignorant, obnoxious or otherwise detestable person, especially a man. Other Scots words for idiot to be added include bam, bampot, bamstick, roster and tube.
Roster.
A tube? Senior editor Fiona McPherson, 47, of Grangemouth, Stirlingshire, helped get ballbag into the dictionary, and she said, "My parents would be so proud." Jane Johnson, also a senior editor, said there's no shortage of Scottish words available to choose from if you want to label someone an idiot, and the March release includes a wide variety of such insults. Be warned, though, injudicious use of these terms may result in a warning to shut your geggy, another new edition.
Well, hopefully Limmy's coming in the studio one day. People can phone in with their funny Scottish words. And,
Well, here's another one, because they've put 40 new Scottish words in there. Both, which is a stink. A bidey-in, a live-in lover. A hee-haw, nothing. Rooked, penniless. And eeksy-peeksy, well-balanced. My mate Ronnie used to, when I looked ill, and I did quite a lot because I was pregnant twice while working with him. No connection.
Translucent skin.
Would say I looked palely wally.
Okay.
Ouija, a derogatory term for a Glaswegian, first recorded in Irving Welsh's 1993 novel Trainspotting, also included. Hooray! Well done, Scotland. You've finally been recognised.
Drivers were furious after the word C, the C word, was spray painted on their cars in bright red.
Oh, that's double rude.
The attacks took place overnight in 3 streets in Portsmouth. One mother was angry after her 4-year-old asked her, "What does mean?" I'd be proud that my kids could read. Here's the thing, my kids, they're not quite as obsessed with swearing as they were, but they still find majesty and power in those most beautiful of foul language. And they keep talking about the C word, and of course they mean crap. Every time they say, well, in America, the C word isn't swearing. And I was about to say, oh, God, no, in America, the C word is even worse than it is over here. And then I remember they were talking about crap and not the actual C word.
Yeah.
So I want to give it to them.
No, you mustn't.
I want to. I'm aware it would steal what tiny little bit of childhood they've got left. But it's like giving. It's like, you know, the kids go in with catapults and things like that, and I give them a nuclear bomb to put in their back pocket.
And here's the thing: it would be. Well, maybe a nuclear bomb, or maybe one of those cluster bombs. Because the thing is, you weaponise your kid with that, and you can do it as responsibly or as stupidly as you like. It's your problem, right? No, it ain't. They go to school; it's going to spread like wildfire.
Yeah, beautiful.
Who did you hear that from? Oh, that boy.
Well, no. But then I would say to them, listen, if you say this in school, you've got to say that you heard it from Tony. Or blame it on another kid. Don't want them to be the
You really are teaching them all the right life lessons.
Oh God, yeah, totally.
Poor Tony.
Tony doesn't exist before people complain. Tony is not a real.
Of course he doesn't. There's no Tonys under the age of 15.
I think you're probably right. And there's got to be a few Antonys out there.
They wouldn't be calling themselves Tony, though. Would they?
They wouldn't be calling them. Someone will, though.
There'd be Ants.
Oh, yeah, because of Anthony and Declan.
Yeah, Tony's our people. Tony is our people. Tony's, Claire's, Sarah.
Have your kids
Wendy.
played around with their names? Have they said to you, would you call me... Because all of our kids' names can be kind of abbreviated and changed slightly. Have they said... Because my eldest, I was thinking about this today because yesterday we were at school and his teachers call him the abbreviated version of the name, which is cool, and he's cool with it. And I remember... maybe when he was 6, him saying, I would like it if you call me this now, the abbreviated version of his name, which I shall not say on air because I'm not like some desperate, fame-hungry, cash-hungry a-hole that would not only mention my kid's name on air but also sell pictures of them the minutes after they popped out of my ex-wife's fanny. I'm not that desperate for fame.
Took pictures of your ex-wife's?
No, what I'm saying is
right.
I'm not the kind of scumbag that sells their kids before they can even walk.
No, who would do that?
I don't know, some fame-hungry loser who looks like he's wearing makeup constantly and he's probably wearing a wig. Yes, about 2 or 3 years ago, he said, "Would you mind calling me this?" And it lasted about 3 days, and then it stopped. But if your girls play with their names,
they experiment. We have various names, like you have with the cats.
Yeah. Oh God, we've got hundreds of names for the cats.
There are various names for my children, depending on my mood and theirs. To be honest. If we're being super affectionate, we'll go back to the old school names that we called them when they were little and couldn't pronounce their names properly.
But have they come up to you and said, "Mum, I'd prefer it if you called me this"?
No,
now?
My eldest is very difficult to abbreviate.
Yep. No, it's not.
Well.
No, it's not. Should we go to the ads and I'll tell you?
Yeah.
Let's go to the ads.
The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio. We'll get you talking.
Hey, 03444991000. Susan Hughes is a new listener. She's dived straight into this bit. Normally, Susan, you don't know the rules. Normally, I wouldn't read this off Twitter, but you're a new listener. She's literally her first time listening tonight, and she's taking part.
Okay.
Which is more than... Sorry?
That was me having a lovely idea about Susan.
Yes, man! She sent us in a load of polls. What's Occitan?
Occitan.
No. Occitan.
Yeah. Something I studied at university, so yeah, correct me a bit more.
C-I-T-A-N. What is Occitan?
It's a dialect or an old language that they speak in the south of France / north of Spain.
Have you studied at university?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so what's the Occitan for Paul?
It would be something like...
you studied at university and you don't know.
I didn't study Paul's.
You studied Occitan.
Occitan.
No, Occitan. And you don't know the Occitan for Paul.
Is it...
Wow, weird. Almost like you didn't... I don't know, didn't study it properly. It's almost like you didn't say it. So what's the Occitan for Paul then, Catherine?
It would be something like... I reckon it'd be something like... Paolo.
Oh, no, it's not.
What is it?
It's Pau. P-A-U.
Pau.
Yeah,
okay.
So we have to... What did you get for your degree, Desmond?
I got a 2-1 with distinction spoken Spanish.
Oh, okay.
Next question?
I think we're probably going to have to hand that... I'm going to have to speak to the authorities and hand that back because...
No, I did. I learnt it for a year because I was reading medieval French. It was fun. They're related.
Why, could you not find any new books?
I read them all.
Well, fair play. Fair play. All the French books?
All the French books in the library, yes.
Oh. What's Shona? My Shona. Shona's not a language. Anyway, in Shona, that Paul is Porossi. Porossi!
Nice.
I feel like we've run out of energy.
Why? Because we talk about Pauls.
The end of the show. Don't know where to go. Oh, here's the thing, guys. Saturday night is none of your business. Sunday night is your business. 8 o'clock, we will be doing a Rabbit Hole live in Luton. It's sold out. There's only 6 tickets left for Brighton. But the one in Luton on Sunday night has sold out. It's going to be between about 8 and about 10:30 with an interval in the middle, something like that. But you can watch it.
Oh.
You can watch it if you really want.
And how would we do this, Ian?
You go to, on my Periscope, periscope.tv/Iain Lee. Around about 8 o'clock, maybe 8:15, we're going to start streaming it live. You'll be able to call in. Tomorrow I'm going to tweet you a phone number that I need you to call just to leave some voice messages. It can be anything you want, silly song. You know, the same as this kind of rubbish, but it can be a little bit swearier if you want. Keep it about 30 seconds, no longer than a minute, really. And we'll play the best ones at the show on Sunday. If you're coming on Sunday, come and say hello. We stick around afterwards for pictures, and I believe that for fans of our history, that Justin Dealey's going to be there, Kelly Betts is going to be there. Have we heard from Paul Scoins?
Scoins is in the house.
Is he?
Yes.
So the classic. Maybe we'll recreate some of the classic scenes from the BBC Three Counties.
It is. It's the classic show. The classic breakfast lineup.
The classic breakfast lineup. It's going to be there, but we stream it on Periscope, and also about 2:30 every night. And I'm going to try and do it every night, even at weekends. But maybe not at weekends, actually. But every night about 2:30, once I've got home and had a little bite to eat, I had that little bite to eat, fed the cats. I do a thing called the Late Night Chit Chat Club, where, again, on Periscope. I'm going to keep it on Periscope, the Chit Chat Club, because of last night's success, where we kind of just talk about the day a little bit and stuff. And you can phone in on Periscope now. People can phone in. The only rule we have on the Chit Chat Club for the moment is you can phone in if I don't know you. So if you're a regular, if we've spoken before, thank you, leave it out, because last night we had some really interesting calls. We had a racist American. Apologise for that. The language was,
and how
the language was awful. It was the worst racial word a white guy can say, so apologies for that. But we had another American whose we found out that his wife's genitals were shaved. Found it out very, very quickly in the conversation, remember?
Yes.
And then we had two...
It was an impudent question, but yes, carry on.
Then we had two... She raised it. She raised his hairy balls.
So you think that opened the door to her vajayjay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Then we had two Canadians. We had Sandra, who was delightful.
And Pierre.
Was that his name? That was his name, Pierre, wasn't it? Yeah, who was... it sounded like he worked for the Canadian Tourist Board. But it was actually... The first 10 minutes was quite miserable because I was feeling miserable. But those 4 calls made me laugh a lot. And it's people calling in that don't know this show and don't know the app. We might have got a couple of new listeners, actually. Sandra and Pierre were both going to listen. So 2:30 tonight. It's going to be a brief one tonight because I've got to be up at 8. I've got to be out of the house by 8:10 tomorrow morning. It's got to be out at 8 o'clock, really. So it'll be a brief one tonight. You get to see my cats, cat action.
Actual cats, that's not a euphemism.
No, my 3 cats. I was considering taking it to Twitch, but the phone calls last night made me think, all right, no, we'll keep this on Periscope. There'll be other... I'm going to utilise all streams at different times. Periscope, Twitch, not Insta, and YouTube, I think. I'm going to use them in different ways.
Here's the thing about Twitch, right? And Periscope, yeah, you can it gets a bit pervy, but you don't get the number of American youth dropping the M-bomb that you get on Twitch, I don't think.
Hang on. No, surely the other way around. We got M-bomb last night.
You got one, yeah, but you also got really lovely of middle-aged types.
No, in the chat you get a bit of that. In the chat. But here's the thing about Twitch. I can make money on it. That's the thing. I mean, that's the thing. I can make money on it.
Twitch rhymes with rich.
Exactly. Twitchy Twitch rhymes with Richie Rich, Richard Richardson's. Good evening, Stuart.
Hi, Ian. Hi, Kathy. All right.
Hiya.
It's a quick one, really. Have you seen the fan-made trailer for Bel Air, the remake of Fresh Prince?
No. Hang on.
You want to watch?
Hang on. Is there actually a remake of Fresh Prince?
I don't believe so, but if there is, then they ought to be taking this guy up because it's amazing, the trailer is.
Bel Air, Fresh Prince.
Trailer.
All right.
Yeah.
Bel Air, Fresh Prince, trailer. All right. Is it safe to play? Hang on.
Yeah, it's safe to play. It's quite gritty, though.
All right. Has it got language in that I can? Has it got bad language in?
I don't believe so.
All right, Stuart, we're going to play it. Thank you very much for your call. It's appreciated. Let's try it. This is Bel Air, the trailer for The Fresh Prince. Here's the thing. What would happen if William Smith, I call him, made The Fresh Prince today? Bel Air, a story of a kid from Philly whose life got turned upside down in 2019. Let's give this a go.
some reason you think this is a game. This is not a
Oh, I like this. Oh, I like this. This is funny.
game, Will. Look at you. Look at you. The only reason why you're not in jail is because Uncle Phil called in a favor.
Take your time.
Playing b-ball.
Go deep. Too easy. You throw this? You're stupid.
It's very visual, but it's
You
very...
are carrying a gun on the streets to protect yourself? I've done my best, Will. It's time for a change. You're going to Bel Air to live with your uncle and your auntie.
Bel Air. Out of all places.
This is a second chance, Will.
This is incredible.
Don't waste it.
This is great.
Will, I will not bail you out again. In this house, I'm not Uncle Phil. I'm the law. Have I made myself absolutely clear?
Yeah.
Yeah. There are no butlers to clean up your messes. You've got to be responsible for yourself.
So, Will, what brings you to Bel Air?
I got caught with a gun. How are we related again?
Shut up, Carlton.
He's from the streets of Philadelphia. Will needs discipline.
Just a little time. Just a little time and a little love. We are what he needs.
Why don't you go back to Philly? Born and raised, right?
You think I would ever want to be in this life?
You're not welcome, Will.
This is fake.
Wherever you're from.
This is fake. You didn't do anything to earn this. I never had nothing.
My life ain't a sitcom, my bitch. I don't even feel like I belong here.
Just give it some time. Everything happens for a reason.
Yo, you must be from Philly.
Yeah. What's up, man? I'm Will.
Jazz.
Jazz?
Hey, so what part of town you staying in? Bel Air. They got you out there?
All right, Philly. Let's see what you got.
Well,
Welcome to Bel Air Academy.
how's everything going in Bel Air?
It's not too bad out here. I just made the team.
I'm so proud of you.
I'm so glad you're here. I need to take you shopping. Rodeo Drive. Oh my gosh.
I was summoned by God to be the greatest. They say my birth is a curse, still made it. I stood out in the field when it was raining. 10 toes down in it. Youngin' came up strong with a will to live. Daddy never came home, mama in the pen. So his relative got him for the devil did. The streets ain't safe, just keep playing in. It's like deja vu, see it all the time. Yeah, it's like deja vu, see it all the time.
Gosh, all right, that was quite visual.
Jazz. Hey, Prince, you even go here? Nah.
It's quite... I'm going to tweet...
It's really good.
That's amazing. Thank you, Stuart. That's amazing.
I want to see that film.
That is amazing. I'm going to tweet that now. Thank you, Stuart. What a recommendation. How clever. It's had 3 million views, so we're quite late to the party, as per usual. This is Talk Radio.
Unmissable late night radio with the original king of unconventional conversation.
Make contact with Iain.
The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
I've just tweeted it, dear listener, at Iain Lee, if you want to go and have a look at that. It was excellent. Let's go to Alec. Good evening, Alec.
Hello there, Ian.
Hello there, Alec. What can we do for you on Friday?
Well, I was listening to CJ's story.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and it's something that happened to me. I've spoken to Catherine about a different thing. I was the chap that phoned in about a ghost story.
I remember. Yeah, I remember the little handprints.
That's right. Yeah,
Is that like The Little Prince?
Yeah,
where he's on the story. It's a great film with David Niven and a little prince, and he kind of crash lands in the desert. Have you seen that film?
No. I've read the book.
Oh, the film with David Niven is great. Let's all go go and watch that. So it's
anyway,
different prints.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, this is a different story.
Can I just say, by the way, the person who's an idiot and tweets all the time, tweets rubbish, just tweeted, "What about Carlton? Weren't you listening, dumbass?" Yes, Alec, carry on. I'm sorry, you've got my full attention now. Go on.
Yes. What happened to CJ happened to me.
You got sacked from Eggheads?
No.
Oh, sorry.
No, I got accused of a murder.
Oh, blimey, mate!
It ruined my life completely. I've spoken about this on the BBC. I don't know whether you ever used to work for Three Counties.
Yeah.
I had a half-hour sort of interview. I went
with Nick Coffer.
No.
Thank God for that.
With JVS.
Okay. Well, you got 3 minutes here, so you got to condense it. So what happened, man?
I got accused of a murder. It was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just in the area at the time. I just happened to be in the wrong place.
So hang on. So who accused you?
The police.
And what evidence did they have?
None whatsoever.
Right. Wow.
And I was cleared 20 years later because of advances in DNA.
Mate.
They'd got the DNA of this person.
Yeah.
Well, I gave my DNA 20 years later.
Did you go? You didn't go to prison, did you?
No.
Okay. All right.
I never even got charged. I got taken in. I got my house searched twice. They did a lot of damage to my house.
I bet.
I never got any compensation. I put in for compensation and never ever got anything.
And you had, I guess, if you weren't cleared until 20 years later, you had this cloud of suspicion. There's no smoke without fire. We all know that. You had this cloud of suspicion hanging over you for 20 years.
Ian, my parents wouldn't speak to me.
No, Alec.
Because for 10 years, because the police convinced my mum that I was something to do with it.
Oh, mate.
Yeah, that's the God-honest truth. I mean, and by the time I went up there and eventually made up they were just old people, but it is a true story, Ian.
Oh, I believe it. Did they make up... Did they live to see you being vindicated?
No, they didn't.
Oh, dear.
But the murder was of a nurse in Radnage in 1995.
Right.
And I just happened to be in Radnage that night, looking at a house, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Sale. But
did they catch the scumbag that did it?
No, they never ever caught the person that did it.
Really?
No.
But they were able to conclusively prove, what was it, blood, saliva, fingerprints, that it wasn't...
You see, in 1995, DNA was not...
No,
it is what it is now.
No, it was very hit and miss, yeah.
Yeah, and it was exactly 20 years later that I saw in the Bucks Free Press that they got DNA of the person, of the murderer.
Yeah.
So I knew they'd come, and they did. 2 officers appeared here. I wouldn't let them in the house, and I wouldn't sit in their car. We had to do it on the street, this DNA thing. So I gave them my DNA, and never ever heard anything. Never got no apology.
Oh, hang on. So did they not come back and say, we can conclusively say it wasn't you? Thanks for your time.
No, I never heard anything, Ian.
Wow.
Not anything. But they ruined my life. Do you know I didn't get a job simply because they went to a company that I worked for, and every time I filled in a CV, they'd go to that company, and the company would tell the people that I'd applied a job for that they were round there. They were asking all my friends what I was like and what have you.
And all they had was that you were nearby when it happened.
That's right. That's all it was, Ian.
Well, that's terrifying, because that could happen to any of us. Who knows what's going on around the corner?
Yeah.
So when did it end? 2015. For you?
Yeah, that's when they came back. To
Right.
exactly 20 years, almost, believe it or not, to the month. You know, when they got this new DNA, they took the DNA, and I said I wanted an apology, but, you know, they never ever come back.
These big organisations and police, BBC, and it's apparently saying sorry. Well, the thing is, once they say sorry, it leaves them open to litigation, doesn't it? That's the problem with everybody. You say sorry, that there's a fault on their, and you can sue the ass off them.
Yeah, but you know, the damage they did to the house.
What did they do? Go on.
They opened. I'm a photographer, so all the photographic paper, it was all factory sealed and says "Do not expose." They opened every single box to the light and just left it there. And it's something that I couldn't replace, but it was over 300 quid's worth of damage.
Yeah, of course, and there's no way you can claim that back, is there? You sort of suck it up.
I did put a form in, but they said they lost all the paperwork and they couldn't do it. You know, the thing is, I don't trust the police anymore.
Oh, I bet you don't, and you have excellent reason not to.
They're scumbags. They ruined my life completely.
Yeah. It has... Was there any light in those 20 years? Was there any, you know, moments of joy and happiness?
What do you mean, Ian?
Well, was it 20 years of complete misery?
Yes, it was, and it's still misery now because a lot of the friends a lot of friends still haven't spoken to me ever since that happened. You know, and my girlfriend at the time, I mean, she's the one I got now. She never believed it for 1 minute. She knows I wouldn't. I've never burgled anybody's house, and I've never hurt anybody. And that's the God's honest truth.
That's interesting. So she stayed with you for the whole thing?
Of course she did. She knew that I would.
Good for her. Good for her.
Yeah. I swore to her on my children's life that I was...
well, hang on. There's children. How have your children reacted over the 20 years?
I don't know whether it's anything to do with it, but I don't speak to them anymore.
Right.
They don't speak to me. I've got grandchildren that I've never ever seen for 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, and they only live sort of 5 miles.
How did the police work such a good number on your parents?
I don't know. They spoke to her and they said, we need to know where he lives, because they said I was elusive, which was a lie. You know, I wasn't elusive. I was registered with the council where I lived and everything.
Yeah.
And my mum says, I don't want you up here anymore, Alec. You're nothing but trouble. You know.
Had you been, let me ask you a personal question. Had you been trouble before that? Obviously you didn't do a murder, but had you been like, a bit of a bad boy?
The only trouble I was, when I was 11, I used to sneak out at night and steal these nasty animal traps and throw them in the village pond. That's all. The only trouble I ever got into.
Yeah. So you never got pulled up by the police, you know, for drugs or carrying weapons or.
No, never ever done drugs. I've never burgled anything. I've never done anything. I mean, at the time, usually they have their file in front of you when they're interviewed, because they got pulled into Tame Police Station. And, of course, they never had anything.
No.
The only thing I did was when I was 11, I used to steal these, they're called gin traps.
Yeah.
I used to steal them because, I mean, I've always been into sort of animal welfare, even then.
Yeah.
And I used to throw them in the village pond. And I got caught by the police. And, yeah, I did throw the policeman's bike. I nicked his bike and threw it in the duck pond because he got me in a lot of trouble. But
Egghead, here we go. This guy's a wrong 'un. Assaulting police officers' bikes.
Yeah, I was 11 then, but no, been in no trouble ever since.
Alec, on behalf of, you know, people of Britain, I apologise for your awful treatment. That's outrageous.
Yeah.
And shameful. And we should all hang our heads in shame that an innocent person can have their family turned against them and their life ruined. I'm genuinely really sorry, man.
CJ, if you're listening, I can sympathise with your story. I know what you're going through. So, you know, very sad story.
Hey, nice one, Alec, man. I really appreciate you sharing that with us. That's incredible. And I hope things work out at some point and you find happiness.
They're working out now. You move on.
Yeah.
The people that are there now are the people that matter to me, you know. in my life.
Oh, your partner sounds amazing, so
She is.
Well done finding her. Hey, thanks for sharing that, Alec. That's incredible. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Ian. And you, Catherine.
Thanks.
Thank you. Wow. I mean,
and that was pretty recent. That used to happen a lot back in the day.
Yeah. 20 years having that hanging over you. But and
imagine
after 20
waiting
years,
for a knock on the door
damage
like
is
that.
Done.
Yeah.
His parents died thinking he'd done it.
Heartbreaking.
What a show tonight, man. CJ was a brilliant opening guest, and we're still getting comments on Twitter about that. It'll be a podcast Monday evening, and it's one that if you just tuned in, first hour was incredible. Get the podcast on Monday. But off the back of that, we've had, independently of that as well, we've had some cracking calls tonight. We got Bertie, we got Alan, we got another 15 minutes or so before Killer Kellner comes in. This is the Late Night Alternative on Talk Radio.
The Late Night Alternative with Ian Lee. On air and off the leash. On Talk Radio.
The phones have suddenly got very, very busy. So let's go through these. Let's go to Bertie first. Good evening, Bertie.
Hello. Can we change class and have Emma, the lady that answered my phone? She's so intelligent and was really, really funny. I think she'd be good on the airwaves. Let's get rid of Cass.
Okay, why are you putting on a fake voice? Hung up. What was that? Did you understand any of that?
I understood it was from a ball bag.
I didn't understand. Was there a phone number for that?
No, it was they're on a payphone.
They weren't on a payphone. They were on a payphone.
A payphone? When's the last time you saw a bloody payphone? Unless it's in some sort of institution.
I didn't understand what they were saying. I couldn't hear. Call back again and try it again, because I couldn't understand what you were saying. Let's go to... But thanks for the call. It certainly filled 22 seconds. Let's go to Alan. Good evening, Alan.
Alan, do you want me to... Ian, do you want me to translate what that person said?
Yeah, go on. What did they say?
They said something about get rid of CAF, and I agree with them for a complete different reason.
Oh, go on.
Go on.
This is controversial. This has turned into controversial.
Right. Remember when you went on holiday or wherever, and CAF was filling you in with that other girl?
Yeah.
She,
It's the 50s.
What's the right word? She insulted, I'm nearly crying. She insulted the Messiah, and I can tell you who she insulted. Not me, Jordan Peterson. She insulted him.
That a bell end.
Who's Jordan Peterson?
How
a bell end.
dare you say such a thing?
It's only words, mate. If you like Jordan Peterson, you know it's just words.
Yeah, but what? Why do you not?
Are you
like
butthurt
him?
about it?
Oh, he's the guy that speaks up for men that don't have sex.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
I'm religious. I can't have sex till marriage.
Just as well, eh?
I don't believe a word of this, Alan. What's your real name and where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Manchester, and my name's Alan.
Okay, but you can't be as thick as you're coming across as.
Right, you're going to be calling me thick because I voted for Brexit in a minute. You'd be like,
this is a spoof call.
Brexit.
No, I don't care. I know people who vote for Brexit. I don't think you're thick because of that. I think you're thick because of everything you said up until this point. But you're doing a character because no one could be as dumb sounding as you are. Just tone the voice down a bit because it sounds too thick.
All right, is that better?
Yeah, that's better. Go on.
All right, can I tell you something else?
Of course you can, mate. I've accidentally pressed the cut-off button. Let's go to Nigel. Good evening, Nigel.
Oh, hi, Ian.
Hello, Nigel.
I'm late. I was watching Iron Man, so I rang up. The signal wasn't bad.
The signal's terrible. You sound very... Is your phone near your mouth?
No, it's the part of the house that's bad.
Could you go to a part of the house where we can hear you, Nigel?
I'll try my bedroom then. I'll try my bedroom.
Okay.
Oh, I'm feeling ever so tired. I've gone back on my antidepressants now.
Has the doctor told you to do that?
Yeah. No, I hadn't stopped. They were due today, you see, so I haven't stopped taking them.
Okay.
I had missed 2 days. Now I took one, but now I'm quite tired.
As long as you're following your doctor's suggestions. I've
only had one, and that was like at 6 o'clock.
Well, I'll just say again, as long as you just follow what your doctor says, that's all. That's all I'll say.
But you can take 1.5 if you want to. They're not.
I don't, Nigel. Listen, I can't really talk about how much and when you should or shouldn't take your medication.
I know how much to take because I've been on a long time. So I know what I'm doing.
Follow your doctor's instructions.
Yes.
All right.
I always do. Yeah.
Good. All right. How's things today?
The photos on.
Yeah, we retweeted it. The photo of you and Helen Grant.
It's on Twitter now. Yeah. So, and someone put it onto my Facebook for me.
Yeah, we retweeted it. It's a good picture.
Retweeted it where?
On Twitter. One? On Twitter. We retweeted it on Twitter. Yes.
Onto your page.
Well, it was on Twitter.
Your Twitter.
Yes.
With the tick.
Yes.
Well, your one's got a tick. That's
my one's got a tick. My one's got
your.
The way you can tell mine and Catherine's Twitter apart is mine one's got the tick and Catherine's hasn't.
No.
Despite her trying many times.
Did Catherine get my message last night? Because I tweeted Catherine.
I don't know.
Did you, Catherine?
No.
It said Catherine Boyle, and it's got the recording of me singing a song on it as well, the video.
Oh, we get things. We both get so many tweets. It's always hard, and I never watch videos or click on links. And by the way,
one of your recordings is on Catherine's page.
Okay, was she? What I'm saying is, we don't really get time to click on links and look at videos. And can I just say to everybody asking me, can you follow me so I can DM? No. Because here's the thing, every time I've DM'd someone, A, it's either been sexually inappropriate, or B, it's just not been worth it. And I did one the other day. Someone said, can you DM me? It's about a film. And I went, and I did, and it wasn't worth it. So no, I don't know. I'm not going to follow anyone to DM. I'm really, really sorry. There's a reason I don't do that. There's a reason I don't have a public email. There's a reason why you guys can't message me. You can phone me 3 hours every night.
It's my birthday on Monday.
Happy birthday!
Not till Monday.
Oh, in that
I bought
case,
myself a card.
Okay. Oh.
And I put Mum on it, so to pretend it's from Mum. So I thought it's appropriate. I said it comes from Mum.
That's a lovely thing to do. That's a lovely thing to do.
And Mum and Dad, actually, I put on there.
That's a lovely thing to do.
I've got something to remind me of Mum, and it's got a push bike on it.
A fish bike?
A cycle on it.
Push bike. I'm sorry, you said fish bike. I thought it was a fish bike. Fish can't ride bikes. Billy Bass might be able to, but no one else.
They used to call them push bikes, didn't they?
Push bikes back in the old days, which is weird because you didn't really push them. You'd ride them. You called them ride bikes.
I'll tell you what, I've got some presents from Christmas that I haven't even opened yet because I spent a lot on myself at Christmas just to cheer myself up.
Yeah.
I've got these model airplanes, the Harrier, 1/48 scale Harrier. I'm not started.
Oh, beautiful.
And I think I've got a Spitfire. These are bigger ones, they're not the tiny ones.
Yeah.
And I've got a stealth bomber, quite a big stealth bomber.
Yeah.
But what I bought Christmas, which I haven't even opened yet, is for 1999 was what is it? Wonder Woman doll. You know the figure from the film.
Yes.
It's a proper figure. It looks like a real person.
Nigel, you've got a CD player, haven't you?
Yes.
Okay.
Of course, I've got several. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Just wondered. All right, Nigel. Well, listen. It's.
What for?
I just wondered. Yeah. Listen, it's good. So your birthday's on Monday, yeah? Well, then Monday night is Nigel's birthday special.
Shall I do a song on Monday then?
Yes,
please. With the karaoke machine, some backing.
Yes.
A proper song. That Barry Manilow one.
That would be nice. All right, listen, we're going to go because I want to get one more call in before we finish the show. Have a lovely weekend, Nigel, and we'll speak to you on Monday.
I haven't sung before.
Beautiful.
The Barry Manilow one.
All right, give us a new one.
I'll do one on Monday then.
All right.
Good.
See you later, Nigel. Have a good weekend, mate.
Have a nice weekend, Ian.
Bye-bye. 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 Bye-bye.
What's Bubby Bye?
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Baby hungry.
Oh, don't.
Baby hungry, mummy. Baby hungry, mummy. Feed baby with booby milk, mummy.
All right, that'll do.
Good evening, Dreamweaver.
Good evening.
It's all kicking off tonight.
You're talking about booby milk. I used to have that all the time.
Well, so did I, but when I was like naught.
Oh, I never got it.
I had it for 5 years when my partner had my children, and I had it for 5 years.
Did you go, baby hungry, mummy? Baby hungry, mummy. Did you?
I'm not going to go into my private conversations.
Baby hungry, mummy.
Oh, but you're not saying no, Dreamweaver.
Sorry?
You're not saying no.
He's a dirty Baby hungry, mummy. I'm not saying anything at all. I'm just saying I used to say lovely things to her.
What would you say
to
your partner when you were an adult so you could suckle on her breast? Tell us the lovely things you would say. Let's hear it.
Well, with my firstborn, his name was Arahi, and I used to suckle on the other breast, and then he used
at the same, not at the same time.
Yes. Is that weird?
A bit.
Flipping it, well, we were all hugging. We used to do naked Celtic yoga together. We had two children, and we used to do all of that together. That was seen as weird. And
yes,
I guess my children were taken away from me. You know all about that.
Yeah, well,
Sorry.
there we go. That's all right. But what would you say to her to be allowed to partake in the life juice from Mummy's breast?
Nothing. It would just be lots of hugs and
just work your
and
way
lots
down.
Of nurturing.
That's how. Here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Which people don't do.
They don't. And here's the thing. This is how a lot of the best fun is had. Is just by just gently working your way down, going a little bit further than you're meant to, and just seeing what happens. And more often than you'll find that there is no resistance.
Wow.
Did you say going down further than you should do?
That's exactly what I said.
He said a lot of things that he shouldn't have said.
Blimey.
Do you know what we're talking about?
I'm blushing now.
Yeah, not as much as Martin Kellner, who's just walked in.
Goodness me.
So go on. So what have you called in for, you mucky boy? Well, are you hungry? You're hungry for Mummy?
I've been at the gym and swim and sauna tonight, and I've come back to my flat. And I've put on the radio. I listened to a bit of reggae, UB40 for a little while, and I thought, Iain and Kath, I need to listen to them.
Yes, correct.
And then I heard some guy ranting on about this and that and that. Why do people involve themselves in so much of this that's going on instead of focusing on themselves? Which
focus on your spirit.
Within you,
focus on your chakras.
Focus on yourself?
Focus on your chakras and your pineal gland, your third eye. Or is it your fourth? I get confused.
Where's your book? I need to have your book for a while. I'd love to write some stuff in that book.
Oh, I forgot about the book. We'll have to dream with her. Thank you very much indeed. Some gyms are open 24 hours a day now.
What for?
Weirdos like that. Good evening, Martin.
Good evening to you. How are you?
You've come in at a very...
Yeah, it was interesting, all that stuff.
Yeah, very interesting. Let's call it interesting.
Don't embarrass me by asking me what I've got on this show.
Well, I don't know what else to ask him when he's... What do I ask him?
Well, between 1 and 5, I'll be playing the part of Martin Kellner.
There we go. Come on.
A washed-up broadcaster.
There we go.
Who's probably gone on a little bit too long, because, as you'll know from Lorraine Kelly's tax case, she plays the part of Lorraine. Did you see all that?
Her agent is tax deductible. That's incredible.
Well,
what a woman.
So is mine.
What a
I'm
woman.
a sort of latter-day Partridge.
Yeah.
And that's the part I'll be playing between 1 and 5.
What a woman. I love Lorraine anyway.
Well, I know you've been on a show.
But I've always had a soft spot for Lorraine. And I read that, I thought that is clever.
She is remarkable. I mean, she's quite remarkable. I used to do a little bit on TVAM years and years ago in the sport on a Saturday morning, and I'm talking about the 80s now. And she was the Scottish football reporter, and sort of looked. She didn't look anything like as fantastic as she does now. It's amazing.
The moment it turned for me, Catherine, I was on a bus going up Oxford Street, and I saw Lorraine Kelly walking down Oxford Street in a brown leather suit. That was the moment. And that was about 25 years ago. And that was the moment I went, right, I see what's going on here. This is a very talented woman. Very talented.
Actually, I have got something on the show tonight. Do you... you're not the sort of person...
I've got something on my show tonight. Okay, there's a first, Martin.
There's an absolute first.
30 seconds.
Okay. You're not the sort of person who ever goes around saying, do you know who I am? However, there was a chap in Hull, and you may remember this, it was a YouTube sensation who said, do you know who I am? Ronnie Pickering.
Oh,
That's Ronnie Pickering.
Yeah.
They've put up a plaque in Hull to Ronnie Pickering. He's got a blue plaque.
Beautiful.
At the moment where he went absolutely bananas and said, do you know who I am?
Yeah.
Ronnie Pickering.
Brilliant.
So we'll be talking to the guy who's put up the plaque to Ronnie Pickering.
There you go. You see, I'll be listening to that on the way home because there's sod all else on the other channel. There's nothing at this time.
They turn them all off, don't they?
They pretty much do. Thank you very much, Amy, for this week. It's much appreciated. We will be back on Monday. Don't forget, on Sunday night you can watch us down the rabbit hole, and about 2:30 I'll be doing a late night chit chat club. Stay tuned. Martin Kellner is next on Talk Radio.
Talk Radio, 24-hour radio debate and entertainment.
Talk Radio.
We'll get you talking.